And the video, mute you.
It's a little bit fancy. And she uses so kind
Okay. Good evening, everyone. My name is Andy Tampone. This is the City of Kingston Zoning Board of Appeals meeting for December 11th. Here it is. December 11th, 2025. It is 6:02 p.m. and I'm on this meeting to order. First, before anything, one of our members who recently passed away, Donna Martin, who was a brilliant contributor to this board and a great community member. And I just want to take a moment to remember her. We have missed her. A number of you new on the board, and I don't think I ever got a chance to meet her. Yeah. I thank her for her service to the city. And yeah. All right. To more challenging things. I'll call the roll. I'm Anthony Tampone.
Theodore Love. Harrison Islamic.
Carl Hepburn. Colin Donaldson.
And we also have Casey Bassett, our zoning enforcement officer, and Matt Jankowski, our attorney, is present here. Start off with minutes, which I was just looking at. Had a revision, which I think is in here, right, Amy?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so with that, if everyone has reviewed in order to approve the minutes from our November 13th. Order to approve the minutes. I'll second that.
Any discussion on minutes?
None? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, old business. We are at 162 Fairview. This is this up last month. This is Mr.
I only included new material.
What?
I only included new material.
Okay. Yeah. So, how are you, sir?
How are you?
Oh, well, I think it's going
I've been
on.
talking since I was here last month.
Yeah. Well,
That's why I'm wearing a mask tonight.
That's soon for you. Sorry to hear that.
Oh my.
So last month we were talking about a definition of a trailer.
That we got cleared up.
Yeah. And so gotta pull up your
That was 7.
sorry, is that you?
That was 7. Said it's a motor vehicle. That was 7.
Yeah. So
Just to help you refresh, I know you did a lot of.
yeah, it's okay. I just couldn't hear you well, sorry. So we got a letter from Casey. Yeah. You have the letter from Casey about clarification on the trailers. So It seems unclear based on your application, what it is that you are specifically looking to. It seemed like last time we were talking about definition of a trailer, because you were questioning whether or not what you had there were trailers or not.
Storage
Right.
trailers as opposed to motor vehicle.
Yes, yeah. So with that,
I don't care.
with that clarification, that seems like we have, what is it that you're looking for here?
You told me at that time that you can't have more than 3 vehicles.
Mm-hmm.
I looked all over the code. I asked you to send that to me because I couldn't find it in the code. My lawyer couldn't find it in the code. I took a ride around my neighborhood. There's no less than a half a dozen houses with 4 or more cars, 4 or more vehicles. There are several houses with campers up on blocks, not being utilized as motor vehicles.
So the one thing with Casey's clarification, what I think, and you correct me if I'm wrong, he was providing you with the section pertaining to trailers and storage units.
Yep.
And there's the definition for the mobile home type trailer.
Yeah,
As well as separate subsection 2, which refers to shipping containers or non-motorized storage trailers for
Yes.
storage purposes.
yeah.
So I believe it's his interpretation that under the code, these are considered non-motorized storage trailers.
Well, for use of storage, I guess that's, my understanding is based on the discussion that we had last time, that if we interpret them like a registered trailer as a motor vehicle, then it works as regular parking requirements. And we can discuss this further, but we got there last time was if we're looking for clarification on this section of the code, I don't know that that's in dispute on whether or not storage trailers can be used for storage. I mean, is that, I don't know, that's something that we're looking for clarification on.
We're not.
Yeah. So if we consider those trailers that you have there as motor vehicles, then you're set to the parking requirements of that. And I don't know that there's been a violation for the parking requirements for this unit. Has there?
No, but I think that would then become an issue with the parking.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, I mean, I think if we, you go with our interpretation this month of that these trailers are motor vehicles as they're registered, then you're stuck with the parking requirement. So, you could have the trailer there, you just couldn't have cars there. So it's like that is, you'd be stuck with the maximum parking requirements of the site.
That was another issue. The other issue is you tried to tell me it's only 1 lot. In 1964, my mother and father bought lot 164 from Chauncey Elliott when he was selling the house next door. That was deeded, recorded, and paid for a sum of $50 at that time.
So if that's a separate lot, then you're gonna have to present to the building department a survey of that lot being a separate lot, and Casey can give a determination on it based on that separate lot. To all the information that we and the building department has right now, it's a single lot. So if you have
We're looking for it.
documentation,
We're looking for it.
like a title.
Again, it's 1964, we're looking for it.
Well,
So,
if
but
you
that's
have a
what a title
deed,
search is for.
you have a deed and he can look the deed up. Cause I just added 2 properties together. I now have 1 deed for 2 lots. So it's a matter of how many lots you have. So the deed is what,
The deed may have 2 different property descriptions. There might have been a lot line revision combining the 2 into 1 lot between
Right,
1964 and today.
so it doesn't matter when you bought them, you could have only 1 lot.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Yeah. So I mean, what you're gonna have, if you think that they're 2 different things, you're gonna have to have.
I'm not gonna call my 97-year-old mother a liar.
You're gonna have to get a licensed surveyor in the state of New York to do a survey and do a title search and search that deed to show that it's 2 different lots. and then you can present that to the building department. But
Okay,
to our knowledge, and as far as I understand the building department's knowledge, it's a single lot and we look at it as a single lot. So if you
a
have,
piece of mail with that address?
no, that wouldn't matter at all. You can
Okay.
get, because the post office issues it in address. Commercial properties sometimes have dozens or hundreds of addresses. They're still a single lot.
Thanks.
So, yeah, so with that said, I guess I'm not sure where it is that we're trying to go with this. We issued clarification.
I asked for him to send me the law. It said only three vehicles. I haven't got it
Well, I mean, it's,
At
you
the
can
meeting
look at,
or-
at the meeting.
yeah, so the parking requirement, I printed that out for you last time. I could even give you that copy. Don't see too many things. This is November. I'm sure. On it, yeah, it's trailers. And here we go, parking, you could have this, pass that down to him, that's what is it? 416, I think it is. 4516 is the parking.
When did this come into effect?
2022,
August 10th, 2023.
23.
2022?
2023.
2023.
So just for the purposes, you guys will have to discuss, it is a determination of the zoning enforcement officer that these things are, non-motorized storage trailers, pursuant to, 405-28A2. So you guys would have to make some sort of determination that, or interpretation that, they are not, and that you find that these registered types of trailers are not considered storage trailers under that section.
I have a
All right,
witness
so-
that, I have a witness that can say that they left, that they've left since we were started this, 2 months ago. That would be him.
Yeah, does everybody have a copy of Casey's letter or 4528A?
Yep.
Brown, all right, so. So, it looks like 4528A1B is really the spot that we are talking about. All right.
It could be A2.
Oh,
Or if
yeah,
that's something
yep.
A2.
So the defining language in this, and anybody have any thoughts on this before I start?
Yes, I do.
The board is going to discuss right now.
I'd like one more bit of evidence.
Sorry, say it again.
One more bit of evidence.
Let's,
Why don't you let him present
Sure.
whatever he
Okay.
needs, and then you get
Okay.
deliberating
Sure.
on the
We've
information.
already ruled on this.
Yeah.
We shouldn't be even discussing.
Nobody's made any rulings on
Yeah.
anything. They closed the public hearing and they tabled making a decision. That's what they're here tonight to make a decision. Just had discussions at the public hearing. They're going to continue having discussions tonight, and then they are going to make an official decision. Either making an interpretation saying that a different section applies or, agreeing with how it is and addressing the variance request for the use variance. But right now you have the floor, so you can add whatever additional information you want to provide to them. And then, they will deliberate. If they have additional questions, they'll ask you during their deliberations. It's just the board deliberating.
Go ahead.
You have nothing further you want to add?
Just that it was already decided if it was gonna be more, if he was doing his job, he should have done it then, not now. This has been an issue for some time. I said it from day one. They had months to determine it, and now they're sending it after the fact, after they lost last week or last month. So it just doesn't seem fair. Go ahead.
Am I confused? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think part of what they were trying to get clarity last month, and that's why they asked for further clarification from the building department as to in what section in the code and how, because the regular definition for trailers refers to RVs for camping. And obviously only one of those on your property is an RV for camping. The other are,
Park transport trails, undecided.
so that's why they asked for the interpretation. And now they can further discuss and deliberate as to the use that you have on your property right now, whether it's, compliant with the code or what type of potential use variance you would need to be compliant with the code.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, your application stated that your vehicle hauler, vehicle storage trailers are registered for transporting motorcycles, snowmobiles, ATVs, and cars, varying events. Further, their location is on a separate vacant lot, which we've already discussed. So that is a statement. We were looking for clarification on what it is you actually are looking for us to do, which we determined was to determine what a trailer is by the definition of the code. And that was the discussion we had last time. We discussed it a little bit, but we haven't made it here. And we asked for clarification on Casey's determination because we were not sure exactly what it is that you're trying to do with that statement. It seemed very unclear at the time. It seems like you want to park these trailers on this property.
I want to continue the same way it's been for the last 60 years.
So we're going to talk about the section that Casey pointed out in his letter. I just handed it to him. I think it's 40516. But I can pull that up. Okay, yeah. Okay, so if we're looking at 40528 A2. Any thoughts?
Just the question is whether it's a vehicle or whether it's a non-motorized storage trailer.
Well, there's one
Vehicle
part.
would be around the park requirements to a non-motorized.
Yeah. So the one thing in this line that sticks out to me is for storage purposes. All right. So with that in mind, anybody else have some?
I want to touch on that as well. How many of these are jacked up off the ground, tires not on the pavement?
Not a single one.
You have one that's jacked up.
Not a single one.
Oh, not a single. Okay, so they're all on the ground.
They're all on
Yeah.
tires and wheels, ready to move. He
Yeah.
saw that one was gone the last time he came and harassed me with another inspection.
So, I mean, he's doing his job. He's
He brought two people. That's harassment.
So here's the thing, right now they're deliberating, so when they ask a question, answer, but, it's, and you had an opportunity to hear it, you had an opportunity, now right now you're bringing the conversation elsewhere.
Yeah.
So they're deliberating on your matter. If they have a question, they can
Okay.
respond to a question. But, other than that, they should be going to talk. All right.
Casey, how many are there?
I lost count around 10 or 11, quite a few in total.
Yeah, there was maybe 7 there when I went by last month. But
You guys know I don't work. I mean,
yeah,
I drive by every place. It's real hard to see them.
yeah, it is. Yeah.
Are these all your trailers?
Yes, they
Or
are.
are they like, so they're all registered to you?
Yes,
Okay.
So I think if we're just looking at the definition here, like in this paragraph, it says non-motorized storage trailer for storage purposes, right? So my interpretation of that would be using a trailer that is unregistered to store stuff in, right?
I
That would be
Immobile.
Yeah, I agree. Explicitly prohibited. If it's registered and mobile, then as we discussed last time, I think that's considered a motor vehicle, right? And could be stored on the property, but is subject to parking requirements as would any motor vehicle be subject to the code. And that was kind of the conversation we had last.
And have any of you guys looked at there is not a separate definition for non-motorized storage trailers, however, there is a definition within the code for trailer.
The trailer specifically talks about like travel trailers, like homes,
Yeah.
like a mobile home. And that's something I think we maybe need some clarification on because it says trailer and it definitely is talking about a mobile home or a camper.
Right.
Yeah. So
And transportable structures.
yeah.
wait for it,
Yeah.
sorry.
So yeah, I mean, based on our discussion last time, I think that we are in agreement that this scenario would be considered a motor vehicle. Is my interpretation of that accurate?
Not a camper, a vehicle.
Yeah, because they are registered and they are able to be used, they are not like dormant stored things. Yeah.
Now, the 3 units, is that per dwelling unit or? Like if you had a house and an ADU? You could have 6.
No, that's different from those types of units.
It changes if there's more than 4.
Yeah,
Until 4 family, it reminds me.
That.
yeah. Yeah. So so I think that what we want is just a clarification on this trailer thing, right? I mean, that's.
Well, they make an interpretation that vehicles for the purposes of the code, and as such, section 405.8 does not apply. However, it would need a variance or potentially for to allow for additional parking motor vehicle.
Yeah, I think that there would have to be. That would have to be a
They
separate
want to take
application.
into consideration is potential non-conforming use that predated the adoption of this code.
Yeah, well, we would have to see that. If you would like to be able to present a pre-existing non-conforming argument, then are welcome to do that, but I don't know that we're looking for that. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
So,
Sorry,
you-
what did you say?
I said, I don't know that we make the argument for you. If you would like to present an argument that there was prior use, then we would be more than happy to hear it. But it's not our responsibility to make that.
Okay,
so, if you want to, well, looks like you guys, if you want to address this in any different way, then it looks like you got to go figure your survey thing out. That seems to be a question that is unanswered in any official capacity. And if you've been using it a particular way that was permitted under the old code and continue to operate it in the same way, you may be able to make an argument that it is pre-existing non-conforming. And you can do some research on that and bring us a presentation about that. That would be based on whatever determination Casey would give you on the parking. Because it seems that you are going to be exceeding the maximum parking requirements under our current plan code.
So I need a variance for
I
that
believe
also?
his variance application does
It does.
request 12 parking spaces,
Okay.
or addresses 12 parking spaces. So I would address that, the decision that you are indeed, interpreting,
But we're not,
those as motor vehicles and requesting potential variance for the 12 parking spaces.
well, that's a bad, man, that's a different. Now you gotta make a use. You're right, that's a use case. Patient.
Well, first, you made the interpretation
Yeah.
that these are vehicles, so the parking, statute applies.
Mhm.
And that he needs the additional variance for the parking, for those additional vehicles.
Yeah, but are we making that, are we gonna talk about that now, or that we're gonna do that in a separate?
It would not be a separate application.
Okay.
This time making
Yeah,
a determination, but it may be something that, now that you guys have clarified about how you're interpreting the code. And it's my understanding that it's 12 vehicles parked there is what,
Do you count the motorcycles?
yeah.
well, 12 spaces, I guess.
So 12 spaces, there's at least 12.
Okay, because what they're going to need to determine if they are going to grant some sort of variance is how many of those spaces beyond what the code allows.
I guess the question would be, how big is the parking space? 8 by 10, 8 by 15?
Defined in the code,
But you don't, there's not a set number there.
Okay,
No, I'm asking if there's a set number that you have on your property.
Right. Yeah,
16. 16,
well, yeah, but you'd have to,
17, 17, 17,
Yeah.
excuse me,
17?
17 parking spots.
Okay.
so I
And
guess,
how long have you had those 17?
1986. 40 years.
So what I believe they are going to do, when they review this, and I would ask you to submit if you have any thing that you can show, showing that, these vehicles had been located there prior to 2023. Submitting that to the board, they're going to table their vote tonight, and then, they will vote on your application in January.
Okay,
All right?
thank you.
so do we want him to present a pre-existing non-conforming case?
Well, it's definitely something that you should be considering.
I agree, but, you know, who's citing the old code, him or us?
Well, look, I know I have a copy of the old code.
Yeah. And should we do the interpretation, separately or all at the same time?
Well, it will be all part of the same decision.
Okay.
At least you guys have clarified during your deliberations, but you're
Yeah.
going to table the rest of your deliberations till next month, so
Yeah.
that you can have additional.
Okay. So, all right, so we're gonna ask you to provide us with some type of documentation showing that this has been continuous use from before, August of 23. And Matt has offered to help send you some copy of the old code. And if this was allowed in the old code, which I don't remember specifically was, but if this was allowed under the old code, then you may have a pre-existing non-conforming use, which might be allowed. We'd have to look at
3 years.
yeah.
That's-
Yeah. So we'll have to look at that. Yeah. And we are in agreement, we'll put this officially, but we're in agreement that we're considering these motor vehicles. All right,
Yeah.
and, all right, so we'll officially document that when we make our decision next month. But for now, we're gonna look for some more information for you to support this. Do some time researching what pre-existing non-conforming means, so that you can come here and make an argument that hopefully will settle this, next month.
Can we settle the gate tonight?
The gate. The gate. It was in.
Wasn't, but it wasn't sure, but it was something that he
Yeah.
sent the letter to Steve prior to.
Yeah.
So let's just get some clarity from Casey. So this gate, the argument is that the gate is not plastic. Plastic is what's prohibited in the code. Have you looked into anything further regarding what the makeup of the gate is? I know he submitted some.
Best I can tell, gives me the products, it's plastic, but from what I've gathered, composite is a combination of plastic and other material. I don't know, I think what kind of splitting hairs or,
Wood composite with resin, fiberglass resin.
But that is plastic. That is what that is.
I'll let anybody owns a Corvette, they'll hit you upside the head with their trophy.
All right, well, I restore Corvettes and they're made out of plastic.
So under the code, it says no plastic slats or plastic screening fabric. It's the exact wording is plastic slats or plastic screening fabric.
Not the gate itself.
None of these.
What was that?
None of these say anything about the gate or
there's nothing, to exist.
fence posts, zip ties.
The privacy fence screen netting?
Yeah, the fence wire is,
That goes on a net, on a chain link fence.
yeah.
That's the
Chain
thing,
link fences are.
this is a gate,
There's nothing on this about the gate.
that's what I'm saying, this is a gate, not a fence. Fence doesn't apply.
This is your receipt from Home Depot. This is,
Mhm.
it doesn't show a gate on here.
There's some tractor supply,
So that's not the.
stainless steel, but some tractor supply. And wood composite was from
Yeah.
Home Depot. All of which I put up to be in compliance, so no one could see it. Free. $1,000, which I was led to believe would be more than sufficient for the problem. I would like to note, for the record, I've spoken to every neighbor on my street. Not a single one of them has a problem with my yard. And you did have somebody that lives down the street from me, even said so at the last meeting.
All right, so the gate you're saying that's in question tonight is, you did not provide them with the information pertaining to that gate, just
Yeah, he did.
What I have was,
to the Home
I
Depot.
just, I received it in order to have it.
Look at that.
No,
Can you send that to me?
Do we have a violation from the building department about the gate?
Yeah, it was in one of the later the later ones I sent. over.
Specifically the gate?
It's not specific to the gate, it's included in the
Oh, okay.
violation.
We have pictures of,
Yeah.
I was checking out the best last time I was there, not to, take pictures.
Again,
There's some pictures.
Okay, okay, the last one is.
one picture's evidence. Every time you come, it's harassment.
I understand that this might feel a little challenging to you, but it's the building department's job to make sure that this stuff is enforced, and they have the right to go and make sure that it's there. So.
I would like to see
I
that in
understand
writing.
that it's frustrating.
I would like to see that in writing.
You know,
so while all this should be considered, look at the additional information,
Yeah.
thing down regarding. I think this applies just to that, take one decision. The amended application. So I think at this
Yeah.
point, we should probably just make motions to say.
table list, yeah.
Let's get the new application.
Yeah, I guess the one thing I would like to see, maybe from the building department, if we can see specifically what the problem with the gate is. Like, I mean, I see what the violation states the ordinance, but I guess what is,
It's not the gate itself, it's not, it's not.
yeah, in the gate, okay. Okay,
And are the plastics not saying we're in the fence or just in the?
There are no plastic slats.
We're just what he's saying, and then obviously we'll address, whether or not they are plastic slab.
No, no.
Okay, so it's only pertaining to the gate.
yeah. Okay, all right, let's table this. We're gonna get more information about, as we discussed, okay, listen yet again.
Last one, we need to have full application.
Yes.
Completely, or people actually.
Totally agree with you. Yeah, we gotta get that. I would like to find a process similar to how HLPC vets their applications. Yeah, so we actually, first thing we do is determine whether or not it's a complete application. Okay, all right, let's,
Motion.
yes, thank you.
I'll send that.
Carl, everything? Oh, that's gone. All right. All in favor? All right. Since we know that, we expect we're gonna spend significant time on 106, 122 Green Street, we are going to, briefly open, take 138 Cornell Street. And then we will move on to Green Street, DAR houses. We have people representing 138 Cornell.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Yeah.
We got
Yeah, you're good. See you next month. All right.
Oh, you just.
Great. State your name and tell us what you're trying to do here.
My name is Frank Castori. I'm the new owner of 138 Corner Street gas station.
Mm-hmm.
We put a sign application to change the brand to Valero. And we were instructed to come to this meeting.
And so you only spoke with the planning board?
Building department, I do.
Okay.
Casey, did you make a determination on any of this? I didn't see any better.
Not
Not yet.
Okay.
So have you reviewed what the sign standards are in the transect in which your property is located?
Yes, I believe, there is no freestanding signs allowed.
Yeah, freestanding monument signs are prohibited there. Electric signs are allowed, except they're not allowed on freestanding signs.
Right.
So that's, are you set with doing it as a freestanding sign, or is there, if you had it, as one of the other sign types that are allowed? Is that something that, you would potentially, be able to pursue, or have you discussed that at all with the planning board?
No, we haven't been in the planning board, but there is a existing, freestanding sign.
So that sign can remain as long as it's for this existing non-conforming, as long as they increase the non-conformity. So you can't increase the size of it, and you can't change it to a prohibited electric freestanding sign.
The electric, these the digital numbers consider electric
Yeah.
pricing.
So have you looked at what the sign standards are? If you want, on the way out, I can give you this as an
Yes,
text.
we hired a sign company. I would definitely take that. But, so in order to get a regular gas station sign, which is not allowed at 138, with the same size, the same location as the existing units, we have to get a variance.
Well, you could replace the wording on it as long as you don't change the dimensions and you don't convert it to electric. So if it's, the same type of sign and you don't change the
Right.
dimensions,
Right.
you can.
Do that. But if we wish to change the wording on it, because
Yeah, you
Brad and Grip is going away and San Valero, and we wish to have the LED digits
So for that, you're gonna need the use. Stand.
Yeah,
use that.
yes.
And you guys, you folks are zoning board of appeals, right?
Mhm.
So it's good to get something back.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just, we did look at it, the planning office, they filed the sign application, but the code does not address filling stations or gasoline station, any type of signage, so their canopy signage is not allowed.
Mhm.
Their, pump signage is not allowed, so they have a multitude of issues,
Mhm.
which is why
In
we
addition.
asked, yeah, yes.
So none of that is expressed in, so the application does not appear to be complete. So what else will they need variances for?
Well, there is.
Because this doesn't even.
For their canopy, the canopy over the gas tanks, there's no signage allowed for that. There is, the question is, do you consider what is there, which is an emblem? And is that considered signage? I don't, that's for you guys to decide. They want to put a reaction Valero signage on gas tanks. None of that is existing now, so, and there's nothing in the code that addresses.
Yeah.
Gas tank signs.
Yeah,
There's also issue with wall signs.
yeah.
Right. Well, lighting is already.
Okay.
That's our earlier, and that is there are restrictions on intensity of lights.
But you're not seeking any variances pertaining to the intensity of the lights?
No.
All right. So Sue, I will get in touch with you. Just to get some. Yeah. Do you feel like speaking to anything once the public hearing is open?
I mean, I can answer questions. I know we reviewed it and then we actually took it to our internal committee that looks at questions that we have. And we all agreed that the signs are not addressed in the code. So the only thing for them to do to be able to put the signage in that they want to on throughout the site is to come here and ask for variance to allow that.
That would, it sounds like from what you're saying, that multiple variances.
Right, because they aren't, there's no signage allowed for any of that in the code. There's no consideration of it.
Okay, and, yeah, so I'll be in touch with you so that by with
Okay.
every.
Yeah.
All right, there, anything else we understand? It sounds like, potentially, an additional variance would be needed for the canopies, as the application itself does not even state, what sections of the code you're seeking a variance. It's not something that they're going to necessarily address. They did schedule for a public hearing, so we will allow the public that's here to speak on this, but maybe keep the public hearing open till next month. And so the rest of this information can be submitted. Someone will be in touch with you if there's additional information that they need from you to make your application complete. And then next month, once the ZBA has additional information, they'll continue the public hearing and actually, make a decision with regard to variances.
So to recap, the code was very clear that no previous standing or monument sign is allowed, that's restricted on those in the commercial. What about the canopy sign? I believe canopy signs were allowed because they consider a building sign. I just want more clarification, so when I come back,
That's
I have the right-
exactly what the ZBA wants is.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so it's something that, well, when you come back, or actually before you come back, you will have, somebody from either building or, the clerk for the ZBA to reach out to you, outlining specifically
Okay,
a determination as to what variances will be needed for what you're proposing there. And then the ZBA will get that information as well and be prepared to address what is specifically needed.
I mean, another way to look at it too is think about, look at our signage requirements for this transact and think about the best way that you could require the most minimum amount of variance
Sure.
needed and still meet the needs that you have.
Right.
If you're expecting it to look like a gas station in New Jersey, that's just not gonna happen. Take your branding and see how best you can apply it to
Right.
the design standards that we have here in the city of Kingston. And, I've gone through this in the town of Woodstock before, like where had to get rid of almost all the signage to really minimize it so that it fit in. And there's lots of villages and cities that require, that don't allow you to use the media book that the company is giving you. So,
well, this is, you're absolutely right,
Yeah.
and that's with respect to all the codes and the vision of the, neighborhood character. That's why this sign is so small, because it's customized within the existing sign is.
Yeah.
And we are in Kingston,
Yeah.
on the Ulster Avenue there also.
Yeah.
And we are, which is,
Yeah.
35 years. So,
We're
what we do, right?
town of Ulster.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. But thank you for your time. I just need more information, so,
Yeah.
to come back and is what walking through a landmine today. And
Yeah.
He said 5 years, but I said, let me go figure out what's going on.
Yeah.
Do you need architects, attorneys, all that, we got the whole crew, whatever you guys are comfortable to work with, you prefer to work with the architect?
Why don't you discuss once you're given the information as to what variances you will actually for what's being proposed. you can speak with your attorney or architect if there's anyone that you think is going to better at advocating for your position. Feel free to have them. As I said, once they open the hearing tonight, they're going to leave it open through at least the next meeting. So that, you can come back, bring whoever you need with you, and they can help discuss the position and maybe address any deficiencies in our code or any disagreement you have with the interpretation by the building or determinations by the building department as to what would be required to be compliant.
Any question?
So, the lady, very nice lady, mentioned that, even the price toppers and the sign and the pumps are not allowed. And she did mention that, when the codes were written, they wouldn't take into consideration the gas stations, retail fueling. And some of those things are law that has to be posted prices. So if there is no codes for gas stations, how is that gonna work?
Well, there, as I said, the building department will make a determination based on this as to what they believe is necessary for it to be compliant with the code. And then the ZBA has the power to interpret the code as well. And they can agree with those determinations. They can disagree with those determinations. They can, say that certain regulations, the way they interpret apply. They can say that they interpret that these regulations don't apply. But it's going to be up to them. They're going to have all that information before making a decision.
Can I take a copy of that codes?
I guess I do that.
Bennett, we're gonna open the public hearing for this matter.
Thank you.
Motion to open the public hearing. Motion Harrison and
second.
Holiday. All right, anyone here to speak on this?
Yes.
Please, oh, yes, all in favor? All right, public hearing is open for 138 Cornell Street, and you are?
My name is Arlene Shekin, and I own 94 to
The
100.
studio next door, right?
It's across the street and a house.
Okay. You
all
sent
the way
some
to the
photos in.
corner. Yeah, I sent
Yeah,
photos.
yeah.
So are you able to show those?
Well, we've all seen, the photos that you sent, we've all seen.
Okay.
Is it,
We have them either.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, we have them, and they're also available on the city's website. They're a matter of public record, so anybody can see.
Okay, appreciate it. Thank you so much for giving me your time. So we are thinking about this situation.
If these are.
Yes.
Yeah.
If we were in the process of hiring a lawyer to counter the lights that have just gone up that are so bright that were not what we had, what the garage had. Okay, so and with they're like we, obviously having a garage across the street wasn't our like A1 favorite right away, but then we grew to great neighbors with Chris, and they were garage, really a community place where they took care of people's cars, all of ours, motorcycles, anything. Anybody could go in there. They rehabilitated a 20-year-old Subaru for my daughter, like everything was great. And they closed at 4:00. And they had, they weren't trying to they sold gas, but they weren't a corporate place. They weren't they were a neighborhood place. Our corner there and my purchasing of that building was based on being part of the Midtown Arts District. And I employ 7 full-time people. We use multiple, like intense amounts of neighborhood visits. We planted street trees. We are going the opposite way. We're trying to be neighborhood. We are friends with, all of the people, RNF Paints is next door, Bailey's is next door, where we see ourselves as part of a community. I was on Cedar Street for 5 years in a rental before that, and I left because it was too busy and too bright. Suddenly, at night, I can't paint in my studio because those LED lights glaring into the studio are so absolutely intense. I don't understand how that is permissible. So that's where I was at. And then suddenly we got this letter that they want even more bigger, as if it was some major intersection, which it's not. And there is a woman living alone in the house next door. She couldn't come. She, is freaked out by the idea of these longer hours and, having this gas station that just might be too busy. Like people are walking their dogs. She's worried about walking her dog now, whatever. It's this, it feels incredibly intrusive and actually shocking. So it doesn't seem like we traded this business for this business. And the house on the corner, which I think you can see, 100. I rent as a substitute artist at a below market rent, because what artists can afford, to be here? It's hard now. And that guy just told me last week he has to leave because it's just his bedroom. He can't even sleep. And so there are 2 other artists interested in that building, but I said, I think we'll get it taken care of. Nobody would want to disable artist housing for LED lights. I don't think people are gonna hunt down this gas station with bigger lights or lower lights.
Yeah.
They're just gonna need the gas or they're not gonna need gas. And I don't think the character of our neighborhood has been, which I bought into. I believe in the city of Kingston. I believed when they said, this is Midtown Arts District. And I've invested a huge amount of time and money in this district. And I feel like the picture you don't have is like the front of our studio. It's very residential, even though it's a commercial.
We got that photo too.
You have that photo too. Yeah, even though it's a commercial building, it's we're trying to have it be street friendly and enhance the city.
Yeah.
We're trying to be a plus, and so I feel like making us be on the alert and be alarmed and not be able to, I typically artists not work, predictable hours, and we do often work late into the night, and the level of light that is current from those LED canopy in our studio is unlike anything that was there before. So I don't understand how that is an equivalent business.
Well, we do have lighting standards and that is a separate thing.
Exactly.
And Casey and the planning department can address that in this whole, process, and that may or may not come before this board, but your input is, part of the design for our code is so that people can well interact with the spaces, from the street and make it feel like a neighborhood that you want to walk around in. So,
Yeah,
hopefully this process will allow this business to operate in a way that feels neighborhoody like you would desire.
yeah, because that was the thing, my studio manager was like, wait a minute, when we built out our studio, we had to hire a lighting consultant and pay a great deal of money
Mhm.
for specific lights that were specific lumen, and this is just, and so
The same will go for this.
Okay.
Yeah, so, and if there's a really big problem, Casey can address that. He might issue a violation that he's gonna have to look at.
Okay.
yeah.
All right, yeah, because we were just like, good, I would prefer not to hire a lawyer.
Would you like her to contact the building department or do you want to just look at?
Yeah, I can look at that, I can get contact information too, and I go back on that.
Great,
Yeah.
great, I sent a letter, I'm available, you can come take as many pictures as you want. Anytime, night or day.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, so.
Okay, thank
Is there anyone else to speak on 138 Cornell?
you so much.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, hearing no one else here, we're gonna leave this public hearing open. We will accept written comment and, people will be able to speak at our next month meeting. But with that, I'll take a motion to table this for next month.
I'll make a motion to they did here.
And when we're leaving, separate.
Not just one motion.
Just one motion. Okay. All right, all right. Who got to that first? Colin? All right. Who's second?
I'll second.
Oh, I think I got Ian on that one. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
That's carried. All right, now we're gonna move on to 106, 122 Green.
Good evening.
Again, you performed fabulously well at UPAC last week.
Oh, thanks a lot.
Yeah,
Glad you made it.
with all the elementary school kids.
Yeah, that was a good crowd. Yeah. That was a good crowd, very, very responsive.
Yeah.
So I'm part of this Ulster County Song Youth Ballet
Yeah.
performance of the Christmas Carol at UPenn. So anyway, I wanted to sort of start here and talk a little bit about how we got here, because a lot has been said about the DAR. There was some disparaging remarks, as it was unfortunate. So I thought it'd be good to take a step back and summarize how we got here. I mean, I know the board has looked at a lot of information, but I think it's important to highlight a few things. And as the board is all taken an oath to uphold the law and follow the law, that's a fairly good place to start. As the board knows, under the common law, people did whatever they wanted with their property. Except maybe with regard to water rights, that's been something that's been dealt with for hundreds of years in the U.S. But in 1927, zoning was found to be constitutional, a Euclid matter. And then after that, because of public safety and everything has to be tied in some way to the police powers of the state. But wetlands, steep slopes, as the board knows, sign ordinance, all sorts of ordinances, all have come into place. As long as there's some type of police power that's legit, public safety usually. And of course, historic preservation is no different. And that's, it is different from the standpoint of deciding what is the public interest, and it's really the future interest of society and looking at whatever the object or district is and protecting that district. So, but there's levels there's levels involved in terms of what the police powers are. Federally listed property, the National Park Service and the regulations, the Code of Fed regulations do strongly suggest and recommend restoration of windows. Because that's a nationally recognized historic structure that is important to all of us. But I specifically centered in on my comments from December 8th about properties that are within a federally recognized landmark district. So that's a little bit different because you have every landmark district has a different character. And it would be almost impossible to nail down what the Kingston Landmark District is, because you have all sorts of varying structures in there, and you also have things that don't are not consistent with that character at all. Like big murals and that sort of thing. Obviously, those are not consistent with that historic character, but they're there. So that really is in the cases that I cite, talk about the one from New York City and Douglaston Landmark District talked about vinyl and how vinyl from the appearance of the public, from the sidewalk or the street, vinyl has a different appearance than wood. So in that case, they said, well, a vinyl fence was not appropriate for that district. The other case regarding a landmark district really centered in about, again, what is the appearance of the district, of the structure, and whether or not change is going to be a significant deviation from what was there before. So, that is really the ballpark that we are operating in with this case. Now, when I wanted to go to when the decision was made by the DAR to look at their windows, that was when the regent was Selena Gundel, who was here the last time around. Before that, there was a regent named Patsy Dorgan, and as the board knows, the commission submitted this letter. It's in the record, and it's from Ms. Cahill to Patsy, and it basically says that I'm reaching out because Jane Franklin at Friends of Historic Kingston mentioned this proposed work to remove the shutter from the three sides of the structure and not replace them. Now, unfortunately, Ms. Cahill was under the impression that the property was listed individually on the state and national registers, and she says that in this email. And she says about there's a plaque installed on the site depicting this honor. That's an honorary plaque. It's not an official plaque. But this letter went to Patsy, and she does say any work which is proposed for the exterior of this particular structure must be reviewed and approved by both commissions. Well, at that time there was also the Heritage Area Commission. So unfortunately, Ms. Dorban did not share this letter with Ms. Gundel or Ms. Davis or any of the other DAR members. So this is March 31st, 2021. And Ms. Dorban was removed as the regent at the vote in June 2021. So then, following the realization that the shutters were falling off the building, they looked at the windows as well. So they decided, we've got to look at the windows and decide what we're going to do with that. Now, in looking at this issue, they looked at the city's website and the 24 pages of preservation guidelines. Now, they didn't make this up. And then it's still beyond me why this isn't still posted on the board's website, because this is very, very good information. And it says this brochure was developed by the city of Kingston with participation from the Historic Landmarks Preservation Commission and Friends of Historic Kingston. It was funded in part by a certified local government grant from the New York State Office of Parks, Recreation, and Historic Preservation. So I don't know how much they paid to have this done, but I know the city does get grants. I saw they received a $15,000 grant recently for some work. And I don't know if they spent $5,000, $10,000, or $15,000 on this, but they spend money on this from our taxpayer money. So Ms. Davis is the one who becomes the person who's investigating this, Karen Davis. So she looks at this and she sees the design review process. What needs to be reviewed? For a designated landmark or a building within a locally designated landmark district. Any exterior change to your building that is visible from the street needs to be reviewed. If you are simply repairing or replacing something with the same material that is currently on your building or repainting in exactly the same color, no review is required. This is what the city said, and they took that to heart. Now you can go on with this. What does not need to be reviewed? Replacement of roofs, siding, and other exterior features in the same materials. That's what it says. You can go through this and there's nothing that contradicts that. And this is exactly consistent with the case law that I've cited, the landmark district case laws out there. There's nothing about this that's inconsistent with the law. So they go ahead, they see that in here it says, well, if you can restore what you have, then look at that. That we encourage you to restore if that's possible. So they do that. They hire historic Cartwrights or whatever I cited in my document, and they look at what the cost of restoring the windows are. $60,000 or $70,000. No warranty. They get some other estimates. They finally decide in 2021 that the best way to go is to replace the windows. So they decide around by about December, they've come to a consensus on that. Now they do have every month they have their meetings. They've got a region, a vice regent, secretary, registrar, chaplain, treasurer. It's a going concern. They've been established since 1892 or whatever. But they don't have monthly meetings December or January or February. So they come to the March meeting, March 7th, 2022. And they decide, okay, we are going to go ahead and replace these windows. So they have the vote. They had 93 members then, only down to 53 members now. This the way what happens. And they vote to go with his new windows. The order for the windows is made March 10th of 2021. I gave you that. That was with the original application to the HLPC. So then, March 23rd, Ms. Cahill writes to Selena Garner. I do not know that we've ever met. She introduces herself. She's responsible for the commission, the administration. Purpose is to reach out. It's been brought to our attention there's a planned window shutter replacement. I am sure that you are very much aware that this structure is not only on the state and national registers, but it's also on the local listing as well. Now, if that was true, of course, Ms. Cahill would be totally within her rights to say, look, you really have to look at restoring these windows. It's in the Code of Federal Regulations. This is strongly encouraged, but it's not. So Ms. Gundel writes back. We contacted both the state and national landmark registry agencies, and our house is not listed. That is the case. But in any case, they still are told that they need a building permit at the very least. So, but they decide, okay, we're gonna go before the commission. They don't run and get a lawyer. They say, we're gonna go in good faith to the board. We're gonna tell them what we've been doing. We're gonna show them our windows that we have on order. And when we get them delivered, we're gonna bring one in to show them to them. So, but they say, we're also gonna look at we're gonna contact SHPO, see what they say. And they know people, the DAR knows people up in SHPO, just like the city does. And so they contact this woman, Sarah Magatti, the Historic Preservation Technical Specialist, on April 20th, 2022. She says, I'm sorry you've been having difficulty with this local process. It seems to me you followed the local requirements for window replacements. That certainly followed what we would recommend if you were going through our consultation process. We showed the purchase invoice to the local commission. Wood windows, not vinyl. Wood windows, not vinyl. Was that included in what you shared with them? Maybe it would help get the team from Marvin you worked with to speak with the local commission, explain the work they did on the property. And the two sorts of leaves it at that. Now, Ms. Cahill or the commission decides that they're going to get another opinion from SHPO. So the next month, SHPO writes a different letter, but it doesn't come from Sarah McIver. It comes from a different representative, some type of local representative. And she says, well, we strongly encourage restoration of windows. But she doesn't say that it doesn't say in that letter that this structure is not listed on the federal or state individually listing. So that's the big difference between the two letters. So as the board knows, the DAR goes through process and eventually it's denied. And I think the board's familiar with everything that's happened since then, you know, when we've had to go to court. But I'll tell you on the question about the legal proceedings and case law. We've been at this now for 2 years. I've been at this for 2 years. Not once in that entire proceeding has the city come up with case law that contradicts what I've told you today. Not once. Because it doesn't exist. Federal listing is very different from the local landmark district. Of course, the DAR has to comply with the 5 factors that are in your code. No doubt about it. The police powers, no doubt about it. The police powers extend to that. No, there's no argument there. But going beyond that and to tell them what they can do and with actually, you know, that enforcing to restore the windows, that doesn't apply in this case because it's not federally listed. So that's the big difference there. And yeah, so that's where we are. I think the board made the right decision in June. We would ask that it affirm that. I don't see that there was any new information that came to light that contradicts what I've told you tonight and the exhibits that I put into the record. They did their due diligence to look at restoration and they came to the determination that they had to replace it. That is within their rights under the law.
I'd like a clarification on some of the things that you sent in. You sent these couple of letters just in the last handful of days, and along with that, a number of screenshots from a phone that look like they are like AI generated search content. And I would like you to clarify on what the goal of providing this information is, because my
Yeah, I think,
understanding, yeah.
now I didn't find that myself. My client, Ms. Davis, gave that to me and said that her son Harley Davis, who's the Marvin contractor who was in charge with installing, found that information last year. Now, I thought that he said he found it on the city's website. Now, Matt has told me that it looks like it was AI generated. If that's the case, then that's my mistake and it was not posted by the city. But that was the information that she gave me, so if that's my mistake, then we apologize for that.
Okay.
I certainly did not want, being a judge, I see when people try to give me AI information, and I do not accept that in our court. I don't think it's proper evidence, because you can't cross-examine the person who made that AI. It's a robot.
Yeah.
So, you know, if that was generated by AI, then that's on me, and I apologize.
I think with that, we can maybe collectively would you accept that we disregard that information?
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. I think what I gave you, the court cases, all of that, I think that it's the way it should be guided. And also the guidelines. I think those guidelines still should be on the city's website. There's nothing wrong with those guidelines.
Well, the guidelines are written under the law that is not the law right now, so that is why that's not there.
Well, I think it still complies with the fundamental police powers that the board has. And there may be some verbiage in the local ordinance that's a little bit different, but I think that still is reflects what the actual law is.
Thanks.
Is that everything you want to add before they begin deliberating?
Yeah.
While they do deliberate, you guys can ask anyone here if you have questions or, Sue Dale, Civil and Planning, other individuals from HLPC, if you have further questions for the attorney, you can ask the question. But everyone also keep in mind, this is not a hearing, this is them deliberating, so you guys aren't just, if you're asked, you can provide information, but you can't just start talking. The hearing is closed.
Yeah, man, I mean, I was just happy to answer any questions that the board has. And the board knows, yes, they bought they bought the windows. And I think the windows were made to the specifications of what is there now. I think that they're designed so that if somebody's going down the street and looking at the house, they will see something that is better than is there, because what is there now is pieces of the windows that are falling apart.
All right, so as we left this last month, we were each gonna take a look at our June decision, the information that we have gathered in since we have made a unanimous decision to rehear this and make a little presentation to discuss. So with that, kind of want to just maybe round robin, we'll get some points if anybody, has them, and then we can collaborate on how we think as a group.
There is a lot of information, and basically, you guys are rehearing the entirety of the decision that you guys have previously made. So you're definitely going to need to not only address the criteria that you addressed last time, but also address the interpretation of the code as to what criteria applies. So definitely we'll want you to go through all of that stuff again. Have you guys reviewed section 205.26K10 of the zoning code, which pertains to the rehearings? You guys are first modify as well the original decision. But you will need to, in addition to that decision, make a finding that the rights vested by the applicant will not be prejudiced by your hearing decision. That your decision is going to be unanimous. The other thing that we will need to do once we go through the statute of interpretation is go through. There's a lot of information that was presented that you guys are going to need to support whatever decision you make one way or another on the record with the information that you're relying upon. So I know Amy did make a copy of yours. I believe everything should be in there, all the comments. Also, if you guys need to reference something specifically while you're discussing, we can try to find it in there. You do have, in addition to the relevant statutes, the HLPC, both of their decisions, the April 1st decision, or April 9th. Well, the decision was April 3rd, and the May 1st hardship decision, as well as your decision. So, hopefully, you guys have taken the time to look through that. Definitely take whatever decision you made lightly. Like I said before, I have questions for anyone else who's here. You guys can feel free to ask some questions. Clarifying and so.
I know you put something here,
Yeah, I looked at the 5 factors. Talk about
right?
that first.
Start anywhere. I want to very curious on one's individual thoughts. I know I have my own, but
Yeah, factor 1 in the COA review criteria that we
we
have.
heard about 40526 and the one.
I'm looking at 40526 L10.
Oh, yeah.
The effect of the proposed work in changing, destroying, or affecting the exterior features of a landmark or a landmark shall restrict upon which such work is done. So, I mean, we found out, I think, last month, I can look through this again and cite it properly, but this building was designated, it had historic designation in 1969, so that protects all exterior features of the building, not just those individually listed. Those are named in the NPS guidance as character defining features. And do you want me to just read through some of this? So,
Sure. Yeah.
replacement windows fundamentally alter month profile, which we learned from some of the experts. Forget Henry Judge is Harry. Harry Judge. Sorry about that.
That's okay. Call for it.
He came in and demonstrated last month the original materials and stated explicitly that replacement destroys the fabric of that structure. Also, Emily Mayer, I don't know. She also, I quoted her, but no historic window is beyond repair. That's from her. An architect.
I read that from a few people.
Yeah, Andrea Lewis. She stated an insert window is not a replacement in kind. So I think what we're looking at in this first factor is even if similar in appearance, similar is not identical. And so that's what I came up with. The code requires analysis of changing, destroying, or affecting, not does it look like the same windows from the outside. And I think in that first criteria.
Mhm.
That's just my opinion.
Changing or affecting is a pretty low bar.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't think of I can't think of weaker language.
Yeah,
in
yeah.
terms of the amount of impact it must have to be able to.
Yeah, it's hard to do a lot without being a change, right? Yeah.
Right, yeah.
I very much agree with that point. I think a lot of what we looked at the first time, we, based on the information that we were presented, gave us the impression that these windows were exact replicas. And I think a lot of what we have learned by looking at the depth of information that we have is that, they are certainly very nice windows, but they are certainly different.
They're
Fundamentally different windows, yeah, yeah, yeah. Do you should we just continue to discuss the first point, or should we?
I think you guys
Yeah.
need to go in depth, and I want to hear from
Yeah, all right.
everyone before.
So let's all keep going around and talk about the first point here.
So the first point is the effect that the proposed work in changing, destroying, or affecting the exterior features of the landmark or landmark district in which such work is to be done. So you're considering what that effect is.
Yeah.
This is what, the fourth meeting that we've had on this, and no offense, but you couldn't carry one window in and show it to us?
The guys having the colonoscopy tomorrow morning, they pick it up from the window.
I mean, I've seen a lot of windows. Have you actually seen one of the windows?
I had the photos of it.
You know, and somebody on the other side superimposed lines on the computer. I don't trust anything unless I can actually put my hands on it. This is a cell phone. I can touch that. We're talking about a window that I've never seen. So, I mean, appropriateness, you know, and plus this depends on how far you install them. Well, could make us the exact same window look differently. So having it look from the road, we have no idea what it's gonna look like if they replace it. That being said, could they look the same? I don't know. I mean, I've driven by there at least 5 times, gotten out, walked on the sidewalks. They have signs. You talk about the plaque on the side of the building. That's their own plaque. It wasn't the historic, you know, preservation committee or the federal government that put the plaque up. They put the plaque up themselves. They did save the building from demolition. And then they did restorations, I'm gonna guess in the 70s, because some of the windows have aluminum storm windows, right? Wood on some and some are aluminum. You haven't seen the building?
I haven't seen it.
There are.
Yeah.
Some are aluminum, and some don't have any storm windows. Some have shutters, some don't have shutters. I imagine the windows on the porch that are facing away from the V, are probably in better condition than ones on the other side of the building. They're taking all the weather, but
So specifically to the effect that this proposed work changing and destroying or affecting the exterior features of the landmark.
I don't see that they're increasing the hole in the stone wall,
Exactly.
and that would be an alteration. They're not moving any load-bearing walls. They're not putting new doorways in, new windows in, blocking windows up. As far as the mural up there on that house, right around the corner, yeah, I don't like that either, but that's a 100-year-old house, and you can paint your house any color you want. Do I like it? No. But
It's not about whether we like it or not. It's about whether it's got its certificate.
Yeah.
right. But structurally, I don't think it's changing, the replacing those structurally is changing the appearance of the building.
Well, it's not about, is the effect of the proposed work in changing, destroying, or affecting the exterior architectural features. Do you think that the
I don't think
replacement
it's affecting
windows
it.
look different from?
No.
Oh,
And I've gotten out of my vehicle and stood on the sidewalk. I don't cross the fence because there are
Yeah.
no trespassing signs.
I think that I agree with Carl where if we had an actual window in front of us to look at, because a picture is a lot different versus in person. You know, I'm a contractor. I do a lot of concrete work, foundations, plans, and just drawings and renderings of different things. It doesn't always work that way when you get into doing the actual project. And the new windows might not, obviously. Replacement and reproduction are two different things.
Mhm.
That's the way I look at it.
Yeah. But these are sash replacement windows that independently operate, right? I mean, it's like, I mean, you're very familiar with what that is, right? I mean, and it's very different than a sash.
Very different.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean-
So,
I think by that nature,
yeah,
like just based off of one-to-one, at least the kind of window it is.
Yeah.
To me, I feel comfortable saying that it does affect or change how it looks. I'm not gonna say for the better or the worse, but it changes.
I think to the average person as well, you're not gonna notice it, but we've had people come in here, give public comment about, I took notes about Mountain Profile, which
yeah,
and we learned that these new Marvin windows are uniform versus the originals that were hand cut with the regular glazing patterns. It makes them unique. They're very different, but like the average person's not gonna recognize that. But I still agree. I'm agreeing that that is changing.
yeah,
The historic value is altering the historic value of that building.
yeah. Yeah, I tend to agree with that. You know, and it's like part of the thing is, all right, like you like the wavy glass, like the simple fact that it is not perfect is like what makes it historic, and something that is new and uniform, as you stated, like, and that basically is perfect. That is the character of time, right? You
As
know?
far as I understand, as far as I think we
There
always
is some wavy glass up there, but most of them are under storm windows.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
Some
yeah,
are wood and they're deteriorating and some are aluminum,
yeah,
I
which look
actually,
like crap.
I actually think this is actually a little bit of a distraction.
Yeah.
Right? Because to me, we're not ruling on what we believe.
yeah,
That's what HLPC's job is.
yeah.
What we're doing is we're reviewing the decision they made, ensuring that it, or we're reviewing or overturning
We're-
the decision they made. But,
Yeah. I mean, it's a little bit,
Decision
yeah,
yeah.
you made over to.
So we,
but I don't, what I'm trying to get at is, I don't think I think we're gonna be lost if we focus on, our interpretation of the amount of effect. I'd rather just be able to decide kind of on what is, most objective.
Yeah.
And then we can work on what we adjust with that last decision.
Yeah.
So if we can objectively all agree that it changes, then,
yeah,
then let's stick with that. Let's,
yeah,
let's not emphasize. Yeah.
Driving down the road, what is it changing? It's not changing the whole. I mean,
It's changing the amount of, glass, right? It's changing the sizing of the glass. It's changing the sizing.
we haven't seen a window.
But I'm saying by the nature of the style of the window itself, because it's going in, it's a frame going into.
They got frames on them now. That's what I'm saying.
no, we're not talking about the storm windows. We're not talking about the storm
No,
windows.
I'm talking about the windows themselves.
Yeah,
They have frames on them.
The construction of this I think you used the term replacement, right?
yeah,
So by the structure itself, it's removing the panes and slotting something.
yeah, you're taking the sash that's in there right now, and you're putting in a completely operating window in the place of the sash.
Right, they're taking the sash that's in there out.
Yes. And putting in, so you're basically taking a window that operates all by itself on the ground and putting that in place of of the sash that's there. Right, so that makes that whole operating thing is now, like, all the glass that you see is now smaller, like the whole proportion has to be scaled down.
You know, see, I don't believe that's the case. If Marvin came in and measured the windows, they would measure them.
So this is the thing I actually checked with Marvin on this too. I called and see how they would do this. The glass, each individual glass pane was not measured. They measured the window openings so that the whole sash fits in there, and they just count the amount of pieces of glass that are in there and make something that they take the whole thing and shrink it down, right? So it is not dimensionally, the new replacement window fits in the old hole, but it is not the same window. It is not exactly the same by any measure of interpretation.
Window.
Yeah, I mean, that's just what that is just what a sash replacement window is, like by definition of what it is, right? It is disappointing that we have not been able to see that, but I mean, we have both definitely seen what those things look like, and there's no doubt that they are different things. Like, you know, I mean, and I mean, I don't know. I can walk by any house in the city and tell you which ones have sash replacement windows in them from the street, guaranteed.
Well,
You know,
if you don't think,
I put thousands of windows in.
if you don't take the original sash out, yes.
What's that? What do you mean? What's that?
You should take the, when you're doing it, to do it correctly, you take the original sash out.
Yeah, that's
Exactly.
That is.
Yeah.
That's what a sash replacement window is.
Right, so the replacement should have the same size sashes that's in it.
No, because you're replacing it with a fully operating window. It has all the slides, the weight mechanisms, all of that is built into the whole unit that's being replaced.
Yeah, so right there
Yeah.
is existing.
Are we looking at an actual stuff that was submitted?
Yeah, we have.
Make sure,
Yeah,
we're referencing, we're talking, so you're looking at, this is pictures that were submitted showing the windows that currently exist and the potential replacement windows.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is go back. Now that's a replacement window, but you take all the wood all the way out to where that sash would fit right in. You know, without actually seeing the window and seeing the opening.
Again, what you guys are referring to, this was an exhibit that, the applicant had submitted. We, what exhibit was that?
Seven dollar exhibit A.
Yeah, man, I wish that this stuff was actually documented that way. Trying to find something in this pile is basically.
Existing window would be with the, yes.
Okay, and that was from the 11, submissions.
Yes.
That's the November 12th submission. So I would just say when you guys are discussing and referring to specific stuff in the record, then we identify.
What's the title of the document? There's names attached to all those from.
This is from, if you go to.
2020 business stuff.
Yeah, 11/12/2025, EX, a replacement in existing windows.
I think we're looking at this.
Fix them.
Is it this? You got this?
No, that is not it.
It's a picture with the double windows.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And then you have existing layer.
Yeah.
I mean, again, I want to point to the fact that changing or affecting is a very
Very broad.
and even if they were slotting in, like I think we've got enough to kind of confirm that in my mind it's not.
Is it broad though? Because they're changing the windows entirely. They're completely different windows. That's changing the exterior feature. They're replacing that entirely. That changes.
Well, and I would say half of these windows are, all cattywampus anyway. So
Yeah.
you're definitely changing the effect, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think that if someone made direct replica windows, right? Like not sash replacement windows, but replica windows, an argument could be made that they may not change or affect because, something old was rotted and they replaced it. I mean, that may be very similar to what it would look like if it was restored, right? I mean, maybe to most people, they may not be able to tell the difference if they were replica windows. But these, as everything has been presented to us, these are not replica windows. They're replacement windows, right?
So, Mr. Chairman, I do have.
Yeah, we
Just said, while they're deliberating, they definitely, nobody should be interrupting today. If they have questions for you, they'll ask you
Yeah.
questions.
Yeah.
And
And we were actually just looking at those photos that have already been submitted.
Photos that they were referencing.
I'm wondering about the square inches of glass.
Yeah, so we saw that superimposed.
Yeah, that's the thing I don't
over
believe
one
in.
of the things.
With the yellow and red lines, that's a picture I don't have any trust in.
Yeah, so if you were to look even at those photos, of that sash replacement,
It's gonna be easier for me to put up here than it is, but yeah, I'm getting my stack of print here.
that was in November. Well, what was the name of that document?
It's exhibit A. Yeah, it's EXA, and then,
Towards the bottom.
EXA replacement of existing windows.
Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, cool. See the thickness of this around there? That doesn't say that it's gonna be smaller. On the outside, it looks like it's smaller, but when you put the trim back around it, that gets covered up. In here, the trim goes right up to that edge there. So it doesn't look like the windows are physically smaller than the hole. Depends on what size hole when you take this out. I mean, this is a bad one because that's aluminum and that's a wooden storm window. If actually that doesn't have a window on, storm window. So you really can't even see.
But we have lots of other photos of the exterior of the building, so that's easy to compare.
But that's aluminum storm window.
And if you look at,
Great stone. You said it looked like the inside of the car.
think. Um,
The original windows, do you know if they have counterweights inside the sash or if they're friction or?
I don't know.
I can't see from these photos.
Is this a meeting of the Landmarks Commission? Maybe I'm in the wrong room.
No,
No.
nothing.
It's the zoning board of appeals.
This is what Landmarks usually does.
Yeah, where we are reviewing the landmarks, case. Yeah.
You have the expertise.
Yeah, so again, they're deliberating. There was an open meeting.
You have the same training as the people on the Landmarks Commission?
No, there was a public hearing that was at the last
I hear you.
meeting. You had an opportunity to speak at that time. Right now, they're deliberating. So please, if they have a question for you, they can ask you a question, you can respond. But just comments are not appropriated this month.
There is, okay, is it? No, there is another document with lots of photos. Folders on this one.
So the question, so if you want, I'll just again go through, there's the 5 criteria that you guys shall consider, as well as additional points. It's not just about, looking at the photos. If you guys are stuck on this criteria, if you want to move on to another criteria, talk about it. And then that way, there's, as I said, there's 5 criteria that you will have to consider under the statute. And then the additional C, D, and E criteria that that you should take into consideration as well. So right now, do you guys want to move on to the next criteria, the relationship between the results of the work proposed being done and the exterior architectural features of the other neighboring improvements? And
I think moving on would be a bad idea.
then we can
I
always.
would just like to say though, even now, after I brought up the fact that we haven't seen a window, nobody's offered to show us a window. And I don't trust anyone, so that doesn't move well with me, you know. You know, I just spent 25 years in prison, so.
I was an inmate.
That was an important clarification.
It's not my back to the door is enough. It's much trust as I'm putting in anybody.
All right, so
Do you want to consider the relationship of the proposed work with the architectural features of other neighboring improvements?
Sure.
Anyone have any comments pertaining to that?
I mean, I have more notes.
yeah.
Why don't you?
Yeah,
Would anyone here argue that Green Street is one of the most historic streets in the city? Anybody argue that fact?
No, I'd definitely put it on the top 10 list usually.
Based on, again, the information I have in front of me, Commissioner Morano, part of the HLPC, right? Referenced their due diligence, evaluating the neighborhood. This project would be the only building on the block with full aluminum clad sash replacements.
I'm sorry for that full left.
Full aluminum clad sash replacements. Which is what they're proposing.
Aluminum clad what?
In sash replacement. So the windows, it would be the only one, I guess, on a block that would feature.
That kind of replacement.
Was there any aluminum in these windows?
Not that I mean,
Yeah.
the only,
This was a point of
the only aluminum that I'm aware of is inside, on the window, in the window. I think I included a picture of that. In the interior, there is, but not on the exterior.
Right,
Yeah.
but you could see that when you open the window
Mm-hmm,
from outside.
yeah.
I don't know.
Yes, like the slides are aluminum, the sashes in the unit themselves, I think are wood according to the
So
Marvin.
there's no exterior clad.
No, I believe that cladding would be shown from the exterior.
They don't have windows open.
No reason to have the windows open.
We're looking at this one on Green Street.
It's on the windows, right? Both aluminum?
What is it, was that,
There was a replacement
Yeah.
also on Green Street, with, similar type windows and,
Just, I shared photos of the building right next door.
yeah, I think that's what we are.
see the.
Yeah.
Replacement down the street
Yeah,
for comparison.
And where is that?
That's down the street
yeah. But
at the end of the block.
Which one is that?
that's, tell me what part of that are you referring to, because it looks.
Oh, I'm showing comparable
Yeah.
windows and.
That one here?
Oh, yeah, it's publicly available.
Yeah, no, but we just want to make sure that.
No,
reflects what.
Publicly available.
Yeah.
And that's-
Can you pull that up?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, oh, okay, I know.
So what is the address?
This is 7 Green. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, one of the things that's curious about what they did here is that, and this is something that we didn't really address. Is that they use aluminum flashing to fill the spaces where the windows were clearly no longer square. And there is likely to be some requirement to do that in some places here as well, because some of these openings square.
They weren't built square.
Exactly, which is another thing for why a historic replacement, right? If you put a square window in a rhombus shaped hole, like, you know, then it no longer looks like it belongs there. So, yeah. So in that, part, like so I think my understanding is that these are not actually aluminum clad, right? There may be some aluminum in the structure, but I think that is, maybe not an accurate statement. You're right, yeah. You know,
Again, we haven't seen one, it's hard to
yeah,
tell.
but it's like,
I'm looking at the photo when the outside of the frame, the main exhibit was this exhibit A, right?
All the specs are right here.
yeah.
Yeah,
Look
with
at
that.
that.
Yeah, that should be in that folder there too, but, yeah.
I didn't see anything on here about aluminum.
Aluminum screens, including the surround, is what it says. Yeah. Yeah, so it says aluminum screen. But then it lists the surround under that. Which is what I was trying to understand here, because it's the difference in the color. It's hard to say with a photo, but the outside of it looks like. Because that's what it would slide in for the frame, you know.
Right. Yeah, when, we did, I sampled this window, right? There were comments on that.
Yeah, the HLPC's decision was provided recently to you guys, and it's their information. So you may want to reference,
They're fine.
Yeah,
reference in there.
This 4 9/16 jam, but it doesn't say what it made out of. All the way at the bottom. So there's one guy that has these windows? You said there's only one guy that has control of these windows,
The
or?
guy who's installed, they're all in the basement right now. So. He's the one who's gonna install. So I went to take a look at it. It's some videos. Why?
We can do some other stuff.
Any, so not aluminum clad stash, but any other thoughts on factor two?
What's that?
Any other thoughts on factor two?
The relationship between the proposed work and.
So we looked at the document, they're not aluminum clad stashes, but so any other thoughts regarding factor two at all, which is the relationship between the results of such work and the exterior architectural features of other neighboring improvements?
I'm not really sure how it would affect other buildings. I mean, you have the salt box across the street that's painted in a non-historical color.
Yeah, I mean, I do. I think I do agree that the impact would not be significant to other things in the neighborhood. I mean, it's certainly significant to this building in itself. You know, there are certainly other improvements in there are other buildings in the area that have been improved, that have not been, kept historic. So for that,
Right, I don't think it matters. The other buildings shouldn't.
I mean, it's one more change to the neighborhood.
oh, I agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's.
All right, any other comments pertaining to that second criteria?
I don't have any at this moment.
Yeah. Or specifically, it said that, which I swear I had that printed, but I cannot.
They're just,
Oh, there.
I don't think it would help or hurt any other buildings in the area. I don't think it affects any other buildings, other than its own building.
It's,
Oh, this is exactly, I just have, this is the decision from, oh,
April 3rd,
okay.
or are you for any
Right,
other
that's-
subsequent submission?
This is April 9th, right?
Well, April 9th is when they sent it to them, but the decision.
Okay, but these are the same documents?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
what they said in the original finding was factors of aesthetic, historical, and architectural values. Oh, no. Relationship between the results of such work and the other exterior features, other neighboring improvements, window quality is not the same. It looks like this is actually cut off.
For number two, it's the
Juxtaposition of new versus old materials
Mhm.
will not equate and will therefore impact one of the key exterior features.
But I guess, yeah, we could argue that that's not a neighboring issue at all. That's the exterior features of this specific building.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. So, yeah. Yeah. All right, so maybe on that one, we're thinking that maybe it's not super significant and maybe we can revisit that.
Yeah, for me, it's hard to parse, like,
Yeah.
house gets nicer next door, it changes how yours looks.
Totally.
It's something you want to paint it, like,
Yeah.
how are you supposed to, differentiate how, it's a significant change to one equates to others. Not defer to the previous decision.
All right, so let's move on to 3. Let's discuss the third point. The factors of aesthetic, historical, and architectural values and significance. Architectural style, design, arrangement, texture, material, and color. And this last time around, uh, you know, we've said that it would have a little effect. You know, looking at the body of evidence we're looking at, I think that it will have an aesthetic effect. You know, simply the fact of something being new and square in that space is certainly going to change the character and the aesthetic.
Well, there's aesthetic, architectural, and historic.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, some specific notes.
Well, we learned that they're part of the Myron Teller 1907 to 1920 renovation. Documented architect of regional significance. The existing windows maintain original craftsmanship and materials consistent with that period. That's what I have to say about the historic value.
Yeah.
But also, I think there was exhibits that showed the likelihood of something, many of
Yeah.
Well,
That's actually the one
Saying
thing
they're even older than 19?
Yeah, 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 that maybe not all of the windows had been replaced in that.
yeah, they were breaking down the 12/12
Yeah.
versus.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, that's the one with all the photos in it that I was trying to find.
There's a lot of ones with a lot.
Yeah.
Which one?
This is not the one by, so it's not the Stacy Caputo one. There was another that had different photos. That's the one that the photo that has. Anyway, can you hand me that? Sure, I can find it. All right. So you want to have zoomed in photos and, right? That's,
yeah,
right, you know what I'm talking
You know,
about.
they're on the same side.
I cannot remember when it came in.
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah,
do
but I
know
remember
that-
specifically that document. Yeah.
And this is what in relation to the age of the windows?
Yeah, it was like the assessment that,
There was.
You guys are talking regarding.
Number 3 is
Historic.
Yeah.
It's probably right now.
reference something and was. Those of you that have reviewed this before and sitting around us, do you know what document I'm talking about?
Can you say it again?
It's one that was, it was a study done of like a review of the historic nature of the windows, and it had a lot of photos that were like zoomed in from the street. And I don't know who prepared that.
It's on.
Was it? Okay, so she did a few different documents then. Because the one that I have from her doesn't have all. So is there more, so there's more than one?
If it's for the historical.
Is it this stuff? This is.
Yeah, that's
a field report.
That's the one that I have. There's another one. That's like some Zoom.
We did a historical photo and then the current view.
It's like you're talking about the Stacy Caputo report.
No, that's, we have that one. There was another one as well.
Is this one that you did?
I did.
Yeah, that maybe.
The one from 23,
It could be.
it's probably on your, what's your webpage?
What's his last name?
Different
Yeah, that might be the one I'm looking for. Yeah.
partial assessment of the exterior.
Yeah. I don't see it printed here, but it's definitely in there. I looked at it a bunch of times. I swear that I printed it. I don't have it anywhere. It's got a bunch of pictures. What I have it in my drop. Sure. Let's see, that would be.
Is it this?
No, no.
Find anything from Diggerman?
Um,
Are you going through that? Going through everything. I'm going through the HLPC documents too. I don't remember what year that was.
Was it
2023? 2023? Or,
likely?
No, that was 24. The original decision was
The original decision was 22. And then I was to 23, so it was 7. And the partial report was generated in time, what's going on in a paper, providing to the most of Southern.
they're like a bunch of like zoomed in, they had like a vignette effect because they were like zoomed in. Yeah. Under planning.
You could also go there.
Yeah.
Be under. Yours and shares.
Yeah, that's, oh, no, that's why I'm something. It's just the worst website ever. No, not that one. Yeah.
See. And then we continue to scroll down. Drop down.
Yeah. Here. Here. Oh, before,
The next
Yeah.
drop down.
yeah,
23.
23.
Please. Under 823.
There. Oh, that might be it.
I believe it was also provided to you by.
No, it definitely was. This is what I'm looking for. Okay, yeah, yeah. The name of this document is Ethan P. Dickerman Historic Preservation, 106, 120 Green Tree Window Assessment Draft. July 2023. Yep, this is definitely one of them.
So.
I don't see it on our.
Where did you?
This came from the HL, this is August 23 in the HLPC.
On the gas side?
I'm sorry, say it again.
On like is it in the minutes?
If you go to HLPC under the departments and commissions, and then look at 23 is in the documents that it's in there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I believe this was identifying the lists.
Yeah, it should be on our list. Yeah. I gotta get that list because that's in a different spot. But there was a huge list that we got. Should be in there too. The one that
Under the project.
for our, well, let's see, for our list. it should be under the materials reviewed by HLPC, it should be in there.
It is like for you.
Yeah.
All I have in there is this Stacy. Talking about this one thing.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for right now, yeah. It looks like this guy, but we definitely,
The date that those,
August. This is, I mean, the report is dated 11 July 2023, but it was part of the August, August 24, 2023, HLPC.
now when was it submitted to the ZBA for review?
I don't,
The list.
the
list-
list
It's on November.
was, is
Under November.
Okay, so it's under November, what did, so,
Well, the document is dated 2025,
yeah.
but it was on the city's website for the November.
Yeah, this is the one. Yeah.
This one draft too. So you wanted to reference this one?
Yeah, yeah, we have spent so much time looking for it now.
I mentioned the Myron Teller renovation.
Yeah.
And I was saying.
So I think in here there are notes about the,
Age of.
age of the windows. That's what I was looking for. Yeah. And the difference, right?
Oh, where's that text?
Sorry.
Yes. Second source, 12. Condition, okay, yeah,
all right, so
there's something.
we're still on very historic, architectural, aesthetic factors, so.
You can keep going, I think there's something that provided information on the actual dating of.
Oh, I see the interior photos.
Ready? I'm go by you, Harris.
All right.
Yeah, I'm scrolling separately here, the same thing.
All right, 6x6. Okay, so,
Ready?
yeah. Keep going. I was looking specifically for date.
Maybe I thought that this was more specific to.
What was
their
that?
age.
You'll go it.
What was the line?
Yeah, this is
more
like the condition of the windows.
Yeah.
And,
There was one that had this.
historical, architectural value.
Yeah,
Also, when you're looking at aesthetics, you look at the design, style, material, color, those kind of
Yeah.
things. So if you guys wanna,
Yeah, I mean, if you're replacing them, you are getting rid of, I would assume you're not able to fit, old storms on there, the old hardware anymore.
yeah, that's one of those things that wasn't addressed really in a lot of this is that the hardware is pretty. It is pretty unique and clearly by the photos of the new windows, it is not even remotely similar.
The thing, it's like oil bronze.
Yeah, but it's like total, well, but it's not, if you look at those photos, it's clearly not.
Well, I don't think the house had the oil bronze hardware.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I
I
don't
think so. Keep going. Did you scroll through these already?
I'm doing it right now.
You're doing it all.
Alright.
Go.
I was looking for something specifically to the, Let's see.
I know there's something about the amount of pains and,
I thought that was
So you
in
guys at
this.
any point can ask questions to either the applicant or any of these other people if you have specific questions. So, if you're asking someone specifically about something like they wrote in this board and ask them about, you have a question pertaining to aesthetic value of paintings, you can ask that person. Any feedback. Because we guys definitely have, reviewed
things to
that.
go over, yeah.
Yeah.
Here is.
Yeah, I feel like
Yeah, I mean. Page obviously just mentioned, references to basic photo. Which is significant. I thought that there was more in this, as far as. It's in our, or, historical significance, but maybe I was mistaken. Yeah. It's just about condition. So, which is valuable, not for this, not for this. Yeah, I don't know if this is, sorry, I spent so much.
No, that's okay. The historic value in the report, they purchased it in 1905. Myron S. Teller reported 1907 and 1920s is what I have. It's not a clear.
Yeah.
that is actually a really interesting point, because one of the things that the training that you sent out, Anthony, highlighted was that, changes over time as well are important. And that's partly why I was looking for, you've got some that are, could be attributed to, I believe it was a mid-19th century renovation, some windows that predate that based on the paintings of the style. And so I do think what is it's interesting, maybe this is as it relates to the area as well, is that it's this process has led me to appreciate a little bit more the living history of these. I also do want to note that while going through that training, I think it's all 90 slides.
Yeah.
I could sit and listen to all of it, so I read.
Yeah.
And I noticed that windows are mentioned. I mean, far more than anything else.
Yeah.
I think it was 55 times. Sashes were noted 20 something times. And then, I mean, if you're talking about siding or any of those, they were routinely. So, just trying to us, the significance of them.
Yeah.
And I think within that, as we talked about point 2, we're talking about point 3. It's a living history of the changes there. You do lose something there. I think you go by rough draft, those windows, I mean, they kind of look like they're in rough shape, but there is something different to them on the same corner. So there's a consistency there that I think would potentially be effective.
I don't feel that the rough draft on the other corner has anything to do with any building sitting next to it or down the street from it. But like, if you take one blink out of a dog's leash every day, he doesn't realize it. Before you know it, you got the glass menagerie upstairs, up, down, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We don't want to do that, but.
Yeah. It's a nice way.
Thanks. I would like to see the windows, because if them things are like the one picture with the aluminum,
I got
I don't,
9 of them here that I took.
yeah,
So it's not as good as
even with these, I don't see that well. I'd like to actually,
physically have.
I can't imagine
Well, we're
coming here this many times.
unfortunately past that part now.
Yeah, I understand that, but.
I mean, Mary was able to bring 2 pieces of wood in last
Yeah,
time.
exactly. So, I mean, I think that we are saying that they're,
any other?
Yeah, I mean, there is some type of impact. I guess it's hard to like how to state.
Well, right now, you're just talking about the aesthetic, historic, architectural value, significance to the facilities, architectural style, designs. You know, whatever proposed changes, texture, material that you consider as part of the aesthetic. So, anything else you guys have discussed? Some of these, anything else you guys want to add to the discussion? And we can come, you guys are gonna be coming back.
Come back.
Yeah. We
I just think the biggest thing with that is that it falls into is with material, is you're going from old growth wood to modern material.
Yeah,
Right there, point blank. It's a factor.
yeah, yeah.
Well, can't get old growth wood anymore. It's just.
Yeah, but that's why they prefer a restoration instead of a full replace.
Yeah.
Because you're gonna have to replace the windows again in 20 years.
We'd all like to prefer not to have to do anything, you know, I mean.
Well, sure, but
I'd love to have a brick house where I wouldn't have to paint it. You know, I'm not gonna take the sign off my house to put brick on it, you know.
Yeah, but this is the opposite. They already have the thing that is preferred and wanting to remove it, and that's the whole thing about what we're talking about. Like a historic story of our city,
Right.
and is removing a
Every
piece of that
inch.
story. Yeah. So it's it's like the inverse of
You don't get that inch back.
yeah. So let's talk about let's move on to the next special character. This is here it is. Special character and aesthetic interest that any structure involved adds to the area. I mean, this is definitely a unique structure. I don't think you can make any argument that that this doesn't that the structure itself isn't
It's building on the ends of land
Yeah.
up there and.
yeah. It's a landmark. There's
it's designated.
yeah.
It was important for the British.
Yeah. Yeah.
And again, I like that the designation applies to the whole building, not just,
Yeah. Yeah.
I only got one part and not the other.
Yeah. And and I mean, the special character is like, you can, HRBC notes this, but it's like, you can see that building from so many different spaces. It's like, it is quite unique. And with that statement, the windows specifically are like extra visible because of that exact
So
like
many of them.
character, yes.
Yeah, it's a house of windows and stone.
Yeah.
That's maybe the most viewable sort of.
Yeah, it's a bummer that people can't go in it.
Buildings situated on a plot like that either. It's very.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah. Okay. So then, the difficulty or impossibility of reproducing any feature or structure involved because of its design, texture, material, position, or detail. I mean, I think we have gotten lots of input on this particular thing, showing that, and even their own quotes that DAR got, like, show that it is possible to restore these windows. It is possible to repair what's there. It seems that even repairing them would have cost the DAR significantly less than the replacement. Yeah.
Yeah, and the Sarah MacIver conversation in full does show a preference to pursuing.
Yeah.
And initially, it was kind of shown to us that one where that was totally fine. I think the input was really just focused on more of a general sense, but when the full conversation was shown, it seemed to have a little bit more focused on pursuing restoration.
Yeah, my notes show that, like, that conversation specifically is cited in a number of places, and it was only part of that conversation was cited. And when you read the entire thread, it's a very different story. Yeah. And, you know, I feel like it was misquoted.
Okay.
Yeah.
Actually, not that.
You gentlemen, any input on, the difficulty of repairing or reproducing?
Yeah, I mean,
What's the question?
In the difficulty or possibility of reproducing or any feature or structure involved, because of the design, texture, material, position, or detail.
If somebody made something, somebody can fix it or replace it or repair it. There's, you know, if a human made it, it can be remade.
I generally agree.
I tend to agree. Well,
Yeah.
and I think that what the windows are made of are not easily reproducible, so I think that repair.
Well,
So
yeah.
old growth wood, and delivery, things like that, that is, you can't. Well, close, it's not.
Yeah.
yeah, you're losing certain joinery, losing certain craftsmanship, and I didn't even consider this until we had all those photos up there. But you are losing storm windows and fasteners and things of some historical importance that I don't think you can hang those storms with those windows.
I don't know if that was addressed at
You're
all.
losing a feature. Yeah.
The original storm.
The original storms.
Yeah.
I'm not shedding a tear over the aluminum ones.
There's no original storm windows. That building was designed to have shutters that closed in the event of a storm,
Sure.
with no storm window, wood or aluminum.
But as we consider the building, it's supposed to be, I mean, the things that are added on over time are considered historic as well.
Potentially.
Yeah.
But that's,
I mean, eventually an aluminum storm window is gonna be close to.
Probably hard to find now.
I got 25 in my garage.
But, hopefully we'll all be dead before then. So,
I mean, I tend to agree with what the HLC rules. Especially the first sentence, more difficult than impossible.
totally,
Just that first thing.
yeah.
To me,
Yeah, I mean, and as we've seen presented by the applicant's own information, maybe even cheaper. Like, so, which I think that in and of itself, like lends to the, possibility, right? It's that's a viable option.
My thought on that is if it was cheaper and is cheaper, why wouldn't they have gone that way as opposed to
I don't think we heard any argument to that.
And I don't think you guys really to consider the cost.
That's a good question, but
But you know what I mean, though?
Yeah, totally.
I mean, I'm cheap. I'm not gonna spend $100 if I can get something for 75, so.
I mean, I don't know that it is, like applicable to our deliberation. Yes. Yeah. But we do have information presented to us that like it was certainly possible and I could see, if you're talking about the difficulty or impossibility, if restoring these windows was going to be like $200,000 and replacing them was going to be 60, like I could see someone making that argument, right?
No,
But that's
my
not.
thought was the opposite. Why would you spend more money?
I agree. I agree. But the argument here that we would have to see is like, what's the difficulty to
Repair.
restore or repair something, right? So we see that that barrier was the same or lower than what's in front of us. All right.
My follow-up thought to that would be then you have something that was repaired and quite possibly won't last as long as the new thing. So.
I think a lot of the testimony that we heard was to the contrary of that.
And I do
Yeah.
think zooming out though, what's interesting about a district like this and the rules that it has to follow is that they don't necessarily have to tell you to do things in the way that right. It's completely secondary. Living in one of these districts is you're giving up, frankly, some of your personal ability to choose that. That's just how it is, and that's been well established by law, right? So to me, it's kind of secondary question. In terms of a narrative sense, frankly, I think they got someone in there and the guy went, "Oh, well, you should get new windows." And they went, "Great, here's the cash," and didn't think about it. Like that's the narrative sense. But whether it's cheaper, whether it's more expensive isn't really a part of the equation.
Yeah.
It's not one of the criteria.
Yeah.
Yeah, move on to the letter of criteria that applications considered on points to be used as a basis where relevant, the relationship between the external feature of the building and the immediate neighborhood, relationship with nearby street facing facades, any of those elements are relevant. What do you guys? This is 4056 L10
C. Yeah. All applications shall be considered by NWC on at least one of them. Points to be the basis.
what? This is
LP.
40526 L10 in the city.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. So it's the next 11th section under where we just were.
You go with that.
I mean, it doesn't look like HLPC actually made any specific comments.
The way I read it, it feels like some of it.
Yeah.
In terms of its relevance. He must have this things.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we can refer any of these things to what we've made in arguments for the previous thing, but I think that we have addressed. Seems to me more advisory than. We certainly have mentioned.
But when he uses the term shall, so.
Yeah.
That is advisory.
Yeah.
So I would recommend that you at least address where you think certain things are relevant, such as the spacing of an opening, the size of a portion, that kind of thing. It's, that kind of debate is certain.
I don't know that,
Did we reference this anyway?
we didn't, and HLPC didn't.
You guys, the previous one, we briefly referenced it, but you also go back to reading this.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we just said
that
that
further consider those points and have already done the color materials and standard so forth. I would say it'd probably be good to at least distinguish what if anything would be different in a decision tonight from tonight's decision, if it is going to be a different decision.
Yeah, I mean, I think the further down in C, it starts to talk about the relationships of materials, starches, colors, architectural details. I think that's kind of the important part of it. And the last bit is the effect on existing or historically significant spaces.
Yeah, I mean, as we've discussed at length, this building in itself is a historically significant space, and we do think that this will, at the very least, present a significant change. And we seem to be in agreement on that.
Lighting space and geometry.
Right, yeah, if you consider geometry, you know, whether windows are perfectly square or not, then
Well, yeah.
that's definitely a difference. I don't know, is that just specifically, you, Harrison, you mentioned that, but.
No, I meant in terms of the windows.
Oh, okay, all right.
Because it relates to the size proportions.
Yeah.
Within the facade.
Yeah.
So you would be, almost certainly based on
Yeah.
the photos that we've seen. Now, changing those openings.
I mean. Right, I mean, especially if you talk about the rhythm of spacing of building elements, right? Then, you know, I think that the geometry thing, like, kind of specifically applies there, because if you look at something and everything is straight to a thing that is otherwise maybe not because of, you know, hundreds of years of time.
Yep.
Like that becomes the thing that you notice.
Yeah.
Right?
Becomes a distraction.
Yeah. All right. You gentlemen have thoughts on that? All right, if you know.
So we talked about. Portion in the space openings on the facade. I would think that these windows affect the rhythm of spacing of building elements on the street.
Well, I think when you take into account, it's not, it doesn't necessarily affect I think it does actually affect the rhythm of the elements, right? Like, you know.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I see what you mean.
You know. You know, material, texture, and color. I mean, if it's all going to be painted, you know, I don't know that there would necessarily be a significant. I mean,
Textures.
would there be there might be a textural difference, whether or not you could tell that from the street, but like restoration versus replacement. I don't know that there would be a significant difference there. I think the windows will look different. Like that I think is different than specifically the texture and color, right? Because like, you know, the painted piece is likely going to be, you know, from that specific point of view, they're likely to be very similar. All right, whether you restore them or replace them.
I would say that's.
Yeah.
Texture of glass.
Well, the texture of the glass actually in itself, you're right.
The
glass.
Well, as far as paint's concerned, I think we can.
Yeah.
It's fair to say that whether you restore or replace it, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. But that is a good point. But the glass is actually quite. You know, so that is a material difference. Yeah. It's all right. Let's sure we move on to D, if we don't have any other thoughts on that. And am I incorrect, or did HRPC not actually make a comment on C?
I didn't.
Yeah, all right. Make sure I wasn't missing.
I think just because we did last time, we have to.
Yeah,
Here.
I entirely agree with that.
Regardless, you guys are addressing the decision you made last time, and you guys are, basically interpreting the code.
Yeah,
So you really want to, anywhere in the code where it says, that you shall consider certain things, or, that it should be addressed. So D, exercising your judgment, on the desire to maintain the desirable character of the landmark or landmark district, and prevent construction, reconstruction, alteration, or demolition which is out of harmony with the existing buildings, insofar as the character, material, color, etc. How is this going to affect the landmark with regard to the district? The character of the district. And we talked about historical significance of the windows. The windows at the end of the building, the character. As in addition to other things, but I think that's a big part of it.
yeah.
It being the windows.
And the what?
And the material.
Yeah. Yeah.
Redwood.
Yeah. Recently had some like old stuff for rough cut 2x4s and mine. Milwaukee barely made it through. It was a catch on fire.
Yeah.
So it's a very different thing.
Anything else you guys want to mention with regard to that thing? So section
I mean, it is our desire to maintain the historic, the historical character of the neighborhood. And that's the whole point of this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's definitely what it says.
Yeah.
How just we want to describe how your decision going through the system management and character.
I think, more generally speaking, here, what's interesting is, especially in the HLPC exercise judgment, the last time we were here, we decided that, the last time we made a determination, we decided that the ZBA, had the ability to review and appeal. I think that it's important. I think it's an important ability. I stand by that. Though I do think where I feel I fell short was in reviewing things based off of these criteria. Really, and assuming of a level of knowledge that wasn't there, right? Still today, when you sit here, 5 people around the table would probably know the least about muffins than other folks in this room.
I know more than I ever.
But this got me, and what I was looking up and reading, before I got here was, about the other, conflicts that have arisen with HLBCs and what was, what the determination was, right? And I think where I feel we fell short was in looking at these 5 and looking at them from a viewpoint. I think really what we should have been looking at was there what I would what was legally referred to as an arbitrary and capricious decision, right? To me, that would be the HLPC requiring,
So that's the standard that judges
yep,
use. What we discussed also later was the real thing that needs to be changed, and I was hoping someone would have already submitted something to the common council, is that the code, generally, historic preservation codes, the appeals are made hardship appeal to the ZBA, as opposed to whatever this whole thing is. But when you're handling it, you're basically stepping in and neutralizing
this,
this right here, because that's what it was saying. The way it's worded is that you're using this, I forget, was it historic landmark right here?
Yeah.
Is the way our statute
There
is
are 5
written.
landmark
And
criteria.
I really think one of the boards should go to the common council at some point and recommend a change to that section of the code.
Yeah, I actually drafted that. I can close that loop on.
But getting back to what we're here with, we're dealing with this. So does anyone have any other comments with regard to the criteria in subsection D?
I would just point back to what we talked about. That would be section B, number 3, which is looking at the aesthetic, historical, or value. And I brought up the renovation done by Myron Teller, who was a documented architect of some significance in this region. I think that would be a big part of preserving the district and the specific landmark. Talked about Old Growth Wood. Can't really replicate that today. I think that's an important part of the history of the building. And I think we made a lot of aesthetic points that I can't remember right now. But, we talked about regular glass sizes and how much glass looks a certain way, and that's very significant. The beauty or the history of change here.
Yeah.
That would be this
Yeah.
subset.
Yeah, I mean, if the intention is to maintain the landmark as desirable, then change what we have now learned is more significant than I think we thought of the first time around. Will create an undesirable modification.
One more note I have that I think is relevant is I wrote down that replacement windows will flatten the features of the structure and produce a uniformity that's not present in other constructions.
Yeah.
That's up in B.
Right. That is, I wrote that down, that there's with subsection B number 3, but I'm missing that point for subsection.
Yeah.
Because I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And writing it off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a very good point. Even the windows that have been replaced without the wavy glass,
Yeah.
we don't know the clarity of them. I'm sure the new windows are clearer than the old glass because, well, they don't have any lead in it, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But, my sticking point, they should probably be restored, but I don't think it says they shall be restored. I think at some point, the homeowner gets to determine how they spend their money. To some point, if they're not structurally changing the building, they should be restored if they can, but do they have to be?
Well, it's an HLPC or Landmarks Commission can certainly stipulate that they should be restored. Like that is well.
I'm not saying they shouldn't. I'm saying they should be probably.
No. I'm
But
saying
the ones
like
under the porch is definitely probably
the
worth it.
municipality is well within its right to stipulate that restoration needs to happen over. Like that's like well established. So it's like they're like.
I think if this wasn't a landmark, it'd be a different conversation.
Yeah, totally.
Like I tend to agree with you as well, but I think because we're talking about a landmark here.
I don't want another glass menagerie. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
But structurally, I mean, it's a stone building, was it for square,
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, so that's part of the whole argument is like maintaining the historic aspect of.
Wouldn't we be able to get rid of all these storm windows if it had windows that sealed correctly and worked?
Yeah, but there's nothing saying that you can't do, like, restoring windows would do that. All right, I mean, like, that's part of, like, you don't need a replacement window to have a good window, or it's like a well-restored historic window seals better than any vinyl window for sure.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it is, it like, you know, I have a handful of turn of the century windows in my house that seal way better than all the vinyl replacements that are in there, hands down. Like, yeah. Yeah. I mean, they're still single pane glass, but there's no drafts, you know? Yeah.
Just my window, and that big soffit next to it.
Yeah. But,
That's where it drops.
yeah, yeah, so like if you're thinking about it from that point of view, like it's not
It's not,
the need to keep the building tight enough for it to withstand another 100 years is not reliant on the replacement of the windows.
Right.
It is reliant on the maintenance of the windows.
Right.
Yeah, which is I don't think anybody's disputing whether or not maintenance needs to be done. You know.
Anything else to discuss in that subsection, or go back or move on to subsection 8?
I think we can move on to page. Yeah.
Right, so, exercise judgment in accord with guidelines of the U.S. State of Interior standards for rehabilitation and or Secretary of Interior's other standards when deemed necessary.
Yeah. So this is something that I think misquoted something last.
I think you guys referred to shift standards.
Yeah, except for that, what we referred to was a line
from an email.
That was pulled. I marked it here, the specific, here. I'm almost positive that this is.
So for the purposes of the decision to remain, are there any particular U.S. Interior standards or Secretary of Interior standards that you want to be correct to be necessary for this guidance you want to reference?
I mean, in all of the references that we got directly from the state, they very clear had a preference of restoration.
I mean, HLBC.
They documented that. Yeah.
Let's reference what you are referring to, so the record is clear. Let's see this. I mean, there's a lot of stuff here, so I'm gonna make sure the right stuff.
It's at least the. So that's, yeah, yeah, like the section. But are we on, oh, that's 10, we're on, 10, okay. That's why. It's not here, but it is here, so. Singer, what, their reference,
I have something I can share. Standard 6 of the Secretary of the Interior standards for rehabilitation is quoted as saying deteriorated historic features shall be repaired rather than replaced. Where the severity of deterioration requires replacement of a distinctive feature, a new feature shall match the older design, color, texture, and other visual qualities, and where possible, materials. Replacement of missing features shall be substantiated by documentary, physical, or control.
But also, it says distinctive materials, features, finishes, and construction techniques or examples of craftsmanship that characterize a property that will be preserved.
shall be.
Preserved.
Yeah. HLPC also, mentioned 6, deteriorated historic features shall be repaired rather than replaced. Wait, that's what you said?
Most of there's 10 that I see that all tend to lean towards historic elevation and repairs.
Yeah. And in the emails that came from the state. This guy. Regarding those, I think specifically, the May 26, 2022 email from Linda Mackey, specifically states the applications materials do not make a convincing argument for replacement of a historic footprint or the HLPC's request, condition assessment survey. This is actually the survey which we didn't get from only got from the HLPC. Yeah, they were actually asking for the, that was maybe for the survey.
We also have the Secretary of the Interior's restoration standards and guidelines, construction standard guidelines, specifically call out protecting or retaining historic plants. And they also specifically call out not recommended is replacing an entire window.
Restoration period. Anything else you guys want to discuss? We are to that. So.
should probably reference the report that was prepared that identified the statute.
Yeah, I mean, we can add to that the email from Sarah Mickelborg. MacGyver, is that what it is?
MacGyver.
Yeah. Specifically stated, if the windows are not damaged beyond repair, recommend replacing them still.
Right, section 5.
Yeah. 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 Yeah, I was actually at the recording. I'm sure there's stuff on the left. And but it's a sin.
So does anyone want to discuss any other particular criteria or anything, or does anyone want to vote with discussing the decision one way or another? So,
Struggle.
I mean, I think we have.
need a motion, if someone wants to make a motion.
I mean, where are we all at? I know you had some concerns about.
Yeah.
Are we, I need to vote or vote need to discuss a little bit?
Well, I guess that's.
Does anyone feel like they need to discuss?
It would be to vote on the matter.
Yeah.
You know, the hearing was closed on the 13th.
Yeah.
So you'd be kind of pretty close, if you didn't make a decision yet.
Yeah. I mean, my feeling is that I feel like we're generally, pretty similar. Carl, you seem to maybe have the most concerns. Is there any particular point that you want to have more discussion on?
Well, I mean, I brought it up before. I can't imagine the windows on the porch are too far gone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they bought all windows.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, if I was looking at a house that was that old, well, I'm cheap. I would only replace what I needed to replace. But, starting with a clean slate with all the windows the same age, I don't know if that would be the right way to go or not, but.
Well, I don't know that our decision is really about the right way to go or not. It's a matter of whether or not, we follow all of these, the standards and criteria that we've been discussing. If we consider replacement not appropriate, then, if there's a specific barrier, it's up to the applicant, to make an argument for that specific barrier.
Seeing that one picture that looked like the tracks, the patches we're in, there's aluminum.
Yeah.
There's no way I could say anybody could look at that and say that's a historic.
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't do it back then.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like I said, I wish I had seen a window, a real one, not a picture, but.
Yeah.
Then the next thing is, you can have a window that's perfect, and if I put it in, it ain't gonna be the same quality as him putting it in.
Maybe they need you to install the new ones to match the
All right. So. Matt,
Matt, can I say anything before you guys vote?
Up to the chair.
I feel
They give you an opportunity. Yeah, it's really.
Go ahead. I got everything on in mind.
I have some notes on what things may make our decisions different. this time than the last time around? Should we specifically note those things or?
Well, so let's go back to the statute. Basically, this is a rehearing.
Mhm.
So, you guys can modify, overturn, null the original decision. You're addressing the criteria. If there's anything specific that you want to address in the previous one, you can do that. But, I would imagine that, addressing the criteria provides the explanation as to why you're modifying. But if there's any specific other references as to why this decision or any specific parts of it are different, feel free to.
Okay, fair. All right. So as we read for things, I'll make some notes. So you've got this back up based on our discussion.
And what things that you guys are discussing, I'm putting in here, and then when someone makes a motion, one way or another, basically, modify this so that it's
as discussed.
wording whatever you guys motion.
Well, I'm part of the thing is like to make a motion, I don't have anything to like specifically read from to make sure that we have it accurate. So I wonder if, we should read, make a motion based on what you have.
Yeah, if you want, we can go through, the entire thing. So basically, any motion one way or another is going to first recite the history, just like our previous motion, that on April 3rd, the certain landmark commission denied the application. April 9th, there was a submitted ownership application on May 3rd, denied. Through that, the applicant appealed the decision to the ZBA. That this appeal involves property notice and technology house. SBL
So
litigation.
you want to read all of that as part of them?
Well, I don't think you necessarily it all out. But it should be part of any motion if you are making a motion, but really so that should be addressed here tonight are the things that are going to be changed if you are modifying. The new stuff is following the meeting. There was a request for a rehearing that you guys voted unanimously to have a rehearing on the application. There are several adjournments. Shows the request of the applicant's attorney for that rehearing, and rehearing was scheduled and held on November 13, 2025. Whereas the applicant, members of the public, the applicant addressed the ZBA. Now the ZBA has reviewed the materials submitted, including we should list everything that we don't need to list every comment, but just comments, but also other submissions by the applicant, submissions by the Jones, etc. And that pursuant to the section 40525 L 10B, the ZBA is considered the following criteria in the following. So the effective of the proposed work and change, destroying, affecting exterior features of the landmark district upon which such work is done. And considering this criteria, you guys find so if you want to, because I know I have listed what different people said. Are you going to be the one making this motion?
I mean, I can, or, I'm happy to read the whole thing out. If,
So if you want to make a motion, it's definitely, people said, some people say it doesn't change the neighborhood, some people are saying that. So we want to make sure that you're focusing on your motion, that whatever.
Yeah, all right, so maybe, where there's contradictions, we should review and discuss and refine. If there's not like there's not unanimous.
I mean, the vote
Yeah,
is that deliberation.
totally. So I guess what I want to say is like in the like if, in those parts of this where there was not, where we didn't have consensus, I want to maybe revisit those things to make sure that we have consensus.
So why don't you guys discuss and see about consensus with criteria number 1? So that, the statements are that, plates and windows fundamentally alter, the profile, wood depth and shadow lines, dash proportions, rail dimensions, rail placement, that, historic windows should be repaired over, replaced, and that an insert window is not a replacement.
Yeah, I would like to specifically state that
If the windows are changing and affecting the historical structure.
yeah, specifically to the replacement in kind, we have gotten testimony the first time around that these were exact replacements. And I think learned clearly that they are not. And so these are replacements, not replicas. Yeah.
So is that something that, is, you want to address that?
I think that's specifically, in contrast to our previous. Yeah,
To the previous decision, find that the replacements.
that what's proposed is a replacement, not a replica. Or is not exact. Or an in-kind replacement.
We all agree with that.
Right.
Just making sure.
Yeah.
Noting criteria 2. Relationship between the results of such work and the exterior architectural features of the other neighborhood or neighboring improvements, considering this criteria, the ZBA finds.
I mean,
We use analogy.
yeah. Every time you move a leg.
Move a link in a dog's collar and then you've got a glass menagerie.
Well, if you got a dog tied and you take one link off his leash every day, he don't know it's getting shorter until he can't move.
Yeah.
And then you don't have anything.
Do you want to legally use that?
Address it, anyways, so.
So loss of a significant,
I know some of the wording I have in here is the replacement disrupts the architectural continuity within the landmark district.
Yeah.
It is one of the most intact historic landscapes in Kingston.
I think a new point that came up in regards to this is also you mentioned rhythm, which I agree.
Yes.
It disrupts the rhythm of the neighborhood.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think you brought that up in what?
And
Section D, but I think it's relevant.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Up here, go through.
Something else outside of yeah.
Up upstairs.
Yeah. All right, thank you. Yeah.
casual.
Yeah, that's enough.
That's in front of 3. Are you good?
I'm not the one making the decision.
No, I just want to make sure you're good writing what you're saying,
Like
because I'm going to read what you say.
Anything else? Correct for the record too, because I said earlier that they were full aluminum flat sash.
Yeah, yeah.
That is not,
Yes.
for the record, that is not true. I was correct.
Yeah, well, we did get testimony to that effect, and I think we got comments to that effect.
Yeah.
And that is, that, was inaccurate, so,
I
and,
wanted to correct myself.
yeah, totally, yeah.
Agree.
Yeah, so we're on. Are you?
Yeah.
Okay. So the factors and aesthetic, historical, and architectural values and significance, architectural style, design, arrangement, texture, material, and color. Yeah, so we.
I really wish we could find that exhibit that showed the different years of those windows, the reference for this one. In
Yeah.
terms of architectural value and significance.
The ones with the lines over top.
No, there was.
That one I found,
Yeah. There was one that.
I don't trust that one.
The history.
Putting yellow lines.
Yeah.
Talking about the different paint styles and what era they were likely to have come from.
Yeah. That's,
This is great.
yeah.
Well, we don't have it right now.
Yeah.
So but that's fine.
We have the Caputo document that states talks about the Myra Teller
Mhm.
renovation in 1907 after they purchased in 1905. We know it was designated a historic landmark in 1969. I'd say those two things lend pretty heavily to the historic value of it.
Mhm.
Also, the existing windows are maintaining the original craftsmanship of how things were done in that period.
Joinery.
Also contributing to the historic value, I'd say. Architecturally, again, old growth wood keeps coming out, which fair enough. You can't get that anymore.
The material for the glass as well.
Yeah, I'm going to talk about material that keeps popping in my head. It's just the glass itself. Yeah.
I think the glass makes more sense than the old growth wood.
Yeah.
Wood because
More structural than,
Yeah, I think more about how the wood is actually joined.
Yeah.
Historical.
Yeah, right. Once it's painted, you maybe can tell the difference, but like how it holds together is different, right? And
But glass is certainly indisputable.
Yeah.
aesthetically, I brought up that regular glass sizes and again, just how glass was constructed back then is different, but it lends to the identity of the building and its historic.
yeah,
Yeah.
and like glazing, right? That's another thing that, but it was it's mentioned specifically. Yeah, it's like the the putty glazed panes,
Right.
like or that, like that's definitely something you can notice from the street.
Yeah, I had a note about glazing size, and
Yeah.
it varies in historic.
Yeah.
It's less standardized than it would be now.
Yeah.
Any more to add
Yeah.
on point 3?
You got that? Was there anything in there already that we didn't just rediscuss, or?
Yeah, there were definitely some other things. Procedures and producing.
Yeah, that was the last.
Right. Special character and aesthetic interest that any structure involved adds to the area, considering this criteria, the BBA finds. He said that the building is unique in its visibility.
Creation. Those are a large. Defining character, defining aspect of a structure. All right. Seems under this building increase exception of the district alternate justice and special care. This building. Versus the windows size shade. Using ways directly to the buildings or. There.
For special character, I think. Maybe we're at.
I mean, in terms of special character, it's burned, it was rebuilt, pretty much everything. I mean, it is truly probably the best example of a living
Of a survivor, right? In that context, there was, man, I don't know if there's a way that we want to add special character, right? Like in that specific context, even though these may not be the oldest windows that were ever in that building, it is part of the fact that they are old and had been changed 100 years ago adds to the story, right? That is special character. And that gives it its aesthetic. It is clearly historic and should be preserved to the best of our ability. More succinctly, the unique storyline of the existence of this building and specifically the windows, as we've learned, add to the special historic character of the building. That sounds more succinct.
I mean, the windows play an integral role.
Yeah.
In the history of the building, also represents the history.
Trying to find a sentence that Matt can put in here. Not the whole discussion again.
Yeah.
Well, but want to lend to that, right?
But I do think, it's good to call it out.
And I know as Eames goes to, he does reference the AR significance that contributing to. So, yeah. You wanted to discuss that at all?
Or? Like from an organization standpoint, I mean,
Their historical organization.
Yeah.
Most historical.
My note is more so, I think the windows led to the history of the building that they represent.
Yeah. Yeah. And I commend them for keeping it. But
All right, let's move on to number 5. The difficulty or impossibility of reproducing any feature.
or structure involved because of its design, texture, material, position, or scale. So, yeah, we had a discussion about that. Clearly, we clearly learned that they can be.
We looked at the whole decision for that. We talked and referenced the more difficult than impossible.
Mhm.
Material quality is difficult to match.
Just from my notes again. These features of these old windows are not readily reproducible.
Mhm.
Restore them, but they're made from, again, old growth wood, anti-layering, glazed putty, irregular bottom geometry, specific rail profiles, and then also a big one for me, I don't think I brought this up earlier, but it's materials that have aged into their openings for over 100.
Yeah,
I know during public comment, a lot of people are concerned about what happens, what happens to the structure of the building.
yeah,
And I don't know that answer.
yeah. Um, so, I mean, I think that speaks to the, like the challenge, but like specifically to the difficulty or impossibility.
Do we speak to the fact that specifically the windows proposed don't
Yeah.
reproduce this?
Yeah. I think that's a statement, right?
Yes or no?
You know,
Well, I'm thinking the other, difficulty or possibility of reproducing.
I just don't think.
Because we can talk
reproduce
about
them in a way that-
conceptually reproducing it, but ultimately with what was shown and, or mostly shown via photograph to us,
that they weren't.
it's not a reproduction. Pretty clearly, yeah.
yeah. I guess
Because if it's a certificate of appropriateness, it's something for a specific action. We
Yeah.
can review the action and say that it's not a reproduction. I think that's pretty
yeah.
good.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I interpret this, and I mean, I guess maybe the HLPC, maybe the way I interpret this is whether or not if it is like directly like difficulty as in like restoring, preserving versus replacement, right? Or some other thing, tearing it down, whatever it is, right? So if looked at it from that point of view, it's clear that it is not it is not difficult or impossible to restore or recondition the existing
Windows.
that are there,
Yeah.
evidenced by even the quote, like not only the comments that we've gotten, but the quote that DAR got themselves to do just that, right? And in comparison to the replacement, seemed to be more cost effective. So like if you look at it from like difficulty being like, can we have this done? Clearly you can have that done.
Yeah.
Like,
Right, yeah. In their initial kind of
Yeah.
conversation with us, they were concerned about lasting of it.
yeah. I mean, I guess that's what I think about it, like in difficulty or impossibilities, like could you have it done? Are we in consensus on like that definition of like what this line means?
What's that? I'm looking at the HL's original decision. They say more difficult than impossible
Yeah.
material quality, right, difficult to replace and match. There are no windows issued in this situation, recognizing the key attribute finding as a report or indicative of the retained. I've requested dimensional survey several times. Shall be presented with information. So difficult for the commission to judge differences in similarities. So on professional survey.
Yeah, that's noted.
That's what it's kind of, yeah, that's what it's kind of funny. Because we're talking about specifically the action that we're, that they put up for approval.
Yeah.
Obviously, possible to make the windows that they chose.
Yeah.
Reproduce those.
Well, yeah, right. If you look at it from that point of view, it would be impossible. Yes, yes, yes. Yeah.
Do you have any input on how we should be reading that?
I'm just trying to understand what you're doing.
Yeah.
So you're asking for input on how to read the difficulty or impossibility of reproducing a feature or structure involved because of that.
Yeah,
As it was reproduced, talk about
Yeah.
repairing.
so
Well,
is it relating to the building or is it relating to the?
well, how difficult and impossible is it to, reproduce this feature that's being changed or?
They made them 100 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So that's the thing. Like, so I think that's my interpretation. Like they can be made, right? So, so if that's our interpretation, then yeah, well, very much in the way that HLBC said it. But not only, it's clearly possible to repair the windows as they exist right now, evidenced by the quote specifically presented to us by DAR to do just that, and the significant comment that we've gotten from individuals who do just that. Probably everyone else in this room at this point in time.
Yeah.
I would say, I just want to speak to the reproduction.
Yeah.
I would say the original features can't be reproduced in material quality, craftsmanship, or authenticity. You can maybe replicate them, but I don't think you can reproduce them in a way that is like fair to the historical value. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, okay. By replacing.
By replacing with a reproduction, I don't think
Yeah.
you can make a reproduction that is a match for authenticity, the craftsmanship, the materials used. I don't think that is possible.
Yeah.
It does limit it to design, texture, material, position, or detail. So whereas we addressed it in the previous one, talking about it often just gives.
Yeah.
Listed here in five.
That's a good point. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't want to.
So I agree with you,
Yeah.
but that's, yeah.
Yes. So. More difficult than possible.
Yeah. Are you ready for us to move on?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. All right, for C, oh, you know what, actually, I think I had a comment on, referencing this. Oh, no, that was both, oh, that was also 4. So we made the statement that, all right, I think my notes here are covered. I think we're, so, the application shall be considered by the HLPC on at least the following points. These points to be used as a basis for relevant to establishing a relationship with some buildings. We talked about the rhythm of the elements of the windows. Yeah.
Yeah, that was what you discussed in D, that not C. C, it was talking about the materials are different, present a significant change, new windows will change, the openings, materials, but will not significantly change the texture and color of the texture of the glass material.
Well, so I think we revisited that, and we think that the material will change the texture specifically because of like new perfectly flat plants compared to old plants. So that was something that we revisited. We had originally stated it that way. And also in terms of rhythm spacing of the building elements.
You want that?
Yeah, because I mean that language is specifically used here in the code, so the rhythm spacing of the building elements would be altered by the proposed replacement because we're making everything square versus the irregular geometry that exists in historic.
And that would have an impact on size, proportion, and spacing of openings within the facade and elevation exposed to view. It would have impact on the design and placements. Entrances and projections. That help.
I think that's sufficient, right?
Then the
shelves further.
windows give the building character that it has, the material it adds to.
Are you talking about D now, or are you
I'm
still
just
back in
looking
C?
at my notes?
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
Instead of got material it adds to. Landmark and district, and I just have refer back to recent, old glass looks certainly. Historic.
Yeah, I mean, you probably could just say for all reasons stated.
Yeah, the reasons stated subsection.
Yeah, in B and C.
Possibly the operation,
What's that?
and possibly the operation of them, how they operate. Because around the turn of the century, they would use counterbalance cast iron weights inside the jams. Unless they were reproducing something from even earlier time, but definitely these new windows aren't counterbalanced or.
Oh, yeah. Well, that was the whole thing. That's the thing with the sash replacement stuff. Like they have those mechanisms in the sash.
Springs or the.
Yeah.
I thought you were just referring to the contour of the aluminum.
No, yeah.
Those weights are pretty fun. I opened up one window.
I threw so many of them out.
What happened in the garage?
There's a pile of them in the garage in one of my rentals from like. There's more there than there are windows in the house. So like, I don't know where they came from. They've been there since I bought the place. There's a giant pile of them.
You get 4 per window though.
Yeah, there's probably 200 of them in a pile. So I think maybe whoever lived there maybe did that for a while.
All right, and the subsection key, basically, you state that
We referenced standard 5 and 6.
Yeah.
standards clearly for placement, particularly 5 and 6. So that we-
Yeah.
And then
the other document.
yeah, we referenced
Was that also the standards of interior duct?
This is restoration standards and guidelines. Is this the same or different?
Well, the standards we mentioned were different, but you mentioned something as well that had a diagram. I don't know if it's the same or not.
This is,
Oh, sorry. This was specifically, windows.
Yes, this is specifically calls out, replacing an entire window is not recommended. And that, protecting and retaining the story is. As well as, to your point, sustaining the historic operability of windows.
However you want to word it.
I mean, nothing like the one when you open it a little bit and there's.
Got the other.
I got the other
That's what happens when the rope breaks.
Where you try to climb through the window late at night. My mother's dead. She can't wrap me out no more.
No, she knew.
All right, we're good.
I believe so. So do you want to just make a motion and?
I'll make a motion and read you, I'll read that whole thing into the record.
I. Like,
So we're just making a motion to,
a lot of those three things, a lot of it's only reverse. What we're doing. Modify it. Yeah, better understand. And you also have to make that.
tell me where, what's this?
Section.
Yeah.
So I guess we would be modifying. Well, I can use those.
Yeah, because we're still finding that this, was this separate, this finding. You're still upholding it.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, we're modifying.
We're modifying because we have to stick with that part. Yeah.
I would use this from modify.
So. All right, I will make a motion to modify and reverse a portion of our 12, is that what it is? June 12th decision.
Second that motion.
Per, our discussion and as documented. There's something from Harrison. Should we have any further discussion?
You will have to make further findings under that subsection.
Do address that first or?
Oh, you're making. Modifying yours as discussed.
Yeah.
And, making a finding. That any rights vested in applicants, will not be prejudiced by this decision. And do you guys understand what that means?
Yes, so
The June decision would have potential to vest certain rights in the app. Let's say the applicant put the windows in and then came back to this. Those rights would have been vested, the rights that they gained from the decision saying that you guys overturned it and it was giving them a certificate of appropriateness. Since windows were not put in, there was no building permits, none of that issued. The rights did not vest. So you're making a finding that the rights vested if any.
yeah.
And there's specific requirements in the 10.
Oh, okay, yeah. And
You have
okay,
a discussion.
to our knowledge, no building permit was ever issued for this, right? So, any discussion on the matter of, whether or not the applicant would be, prejudiced?
What?
So, as part of our, motion amending, or reversing, a previous decision, the board has to find that the rights vested in persons acting in good faith in reliance upon the referred order, decision, or determination will not be prejudiced thereby. Basically, we can't take away something that they already did, right? So we have knowledge from the building department that they were never issued a building permit. So as to our best of our understanding, windows were not put in. If they had put if they got a building permit and put windows in, this would be a different story.
Best of my knowledge.
But to the best of our knowledge, that has not happened. So we are attesting that we are not taking anything away from them. Right, is that? Yeah. Right. All right, so should we make a separate statement of that, or is this discussion sufficient?
This discussion is sufficient.
Okay.
It's in the areas.
Okay.
Will be part of the decision.
Okay, so, so the motion on the table is to and reverse part of our June 12th decision, and also acknowledge that, that our determination is not prejudiced against the applicant. I motion, Harrison second, all in favor? Aye. Motion carries.
But do a
Roll call.
roll call.
Okay,
And you, Amy, you have the form.
I can,
You don't
I'm not able to
just
print from here.
Okay, so we'll do a roll for
Let's
the
do a roll.
vote. So, Ian,
Aye.
okay, Harrison,
Aye.
Bud, Carl, and Colin.
Aye.
And I'm also an aye. Anthony is an aye. Okay,
Can I send this to you? And you print it out here?
You can print this one. Okay, I'll see what.
It's lovely, but it's not.
you, don't have any. We're good.
Right, that is all.
That is all the business for, I mean, it might be the longest meeting. Make a motion to adjourn. Wants to second that? All right. Harrison, all in favor? Aye.
We have to stick around and sign.
Yeah, if she's printing that, then yeah.
How's the car?
And thank you, everyone. Don't direct money so late.
I have my revision in it.